We are Brightside Home Theater.
Hey, home theater nerds. I got it. Hey, home theater nerds. Welcome to the Brightside Home Theater Podcast. A home theater podcast. It's all about the experiences, the sights,
the sounds,
the scenes.
Can I stop yelling now? I don't know why I was just yelling so loud. The microphone, this thing works, right?
Look at that. See, look at John's got his hat on now.
This is to keep the sweat from dripping into my eyes.
There you go. Oh, here we go.
See, now I'm just making me feel like, you know, bad now. You know, just rub it in, why don't you? Hey, it's
you
not
got a hat?
Well, yeah, but I don't need it to keep the hair out of my eyes. We were just, for those wondering, it is sweltering in the UK. We've had the crappiest summer ever for weather. It's just been wet for weeks and weeks, and then suddenly September hits, and it's some sort of, you know, tropical heat wave.
Same here.
And it is sweltering. Yeah, but you guys have got air conditioning, so you get limited sympathy. All I've got is a poxy tiny desk fan that's about that big, that is basically like a hairdryer at the moment, and I don't need hair, and I've got no hair to dry. So
we're actually having a massive cool front because it hasn't gotten above like 92 in 6 or 7 days.
Oh my God!
It was
Lydia got the warm coat out, the fur.
It
broke triple digits 27 days in August.
Really?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, it is Texas.
That's crazy. I know, but that's still it was one of the hottest Augusts on record.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
They were saying here, like, we just got we're getting our typical, last push in September. You get the 90s here. And they're saying on the radio this morning, they're like, Labor Day hits, all the public pools are closed, everything's closed in Boston. They're like, yep, and we're going to get that typical 90-degree, and everybody's standing there looking at a drained pool.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, it happens every year.
Is that the Frog Pond in Boston, in the Boston
Park? I don't think you can swim in that one, though, but there are public pools and stuff.
Yeah.
But, I don't think that even drains. The Frog Pond, they don't drain that. That's
because it freezes in winter, don't it? People ice skate on it in winter, and then you sort of dip your toes in the summer. There you go. That's my local knowledge exhausted.
There you go. So how's everybody's week going?
Good.
Good.
We're in a cool front, so it's great.
Yeah, you're living large down there. You turn the AC down a little bit.
I know it. I actually turned the fan off last night. It was a little chilly.
Oh,
God, see, just rubbing it in again.
I know.
What's going on.
Well, like I said the last time we had this conversation, Steve, air conditioning exists, right? It's not
but just British houses just don't have them. You'd have to have them separately installed. It's you guys over there, when you have your houses built, air conditioning is just kind of part of the spec, isn't it?
Not always.
Whereas here,
no, not in the older houses.
No,
most of the new houses.
Some really
yeah.
It is shocking over here when you'll see a new house build and then you'll drive by in the summer and they got AC units in the window and you're like, seriously?
That's weird.
That's weird, but it still happens. So
because that means they opted out of having it in.
Exactly.
Well, there you go. Whereas here, you said this to a new home builder, oh, I'd really like air conditioning. They'd be like, are you mad? You're like, we get like a week of decent weather a year. Why would you want to have AC for the rest of the year? So it's a very expensive optional extra here. I was toying with the idea of having it put in the cinema room, to go back to home theater briefly.
I was going to say, Steve, you got a home theater, but you didn't get the AC.
No, I didn't. I know I was going to, but and actually the theater adjusts to the outside wall as well. It's a detached place, so it could have very easily gone on there. But unfortunately, I didn't think I'd need it, and I haven't really. I could count on one hand in 5 years the number of times that I've thought, it's a bit too hot in there to watch a movie.
Fortunately, John, they've all been while he's been on the show.
Yeah.
yeah. It's climate change. It's all Brightside HT's fault.
Yeah, it's not the climate. It's Brightside HT making it hot.
Yeah,
coming in hot.
So but because there's no windows, when the door's closed and it's summer, it's perfectly cool in there. You'd think it was air conditioned anyway. It's lovely. So yeah, but occasionally you think, some AC would be nice, but it would not be worth it. So, you guys have got it. So no
And
sympathy
again,
from me.
and not to take this away from the home theater podcast that it is, but like just a standalone in the corner room unit for $300 or $400 isn't
Yeah.
something you'd consider. Like,
No, but then you've got to have an out though, haven't you? And there's no
Yeah,
windows
just
in
an
the cinema room,
exhaust.
so you'd have to drill
Oh.
a thing right through. And I don't really want to go doing that. For the 1
John, you
week a
can't
year.
hang a picture.
I
How the
that's-
hell
Oh no!
do you
Oh no! I
do
definitely
all
can't do it.
that?
No,
well, I wasn't
I'd get it
suggesting he
installed.
do it himself. I was
No.
just saying it would be an option.
Like it'd be cheaper to just hire someone to stand in there with a fan and just do
Right.
that.
Peel you a grape and
And that I
grapes
can
and
do.
palm
I
leaves.
can do that. Yes, like a Roman special in a toga.
there you go.
Oh, God.
That I could do.
All right. So what'd you watch this week, DJ? No.
Yeah. Oh, my God. No, that's good stuff. That's good. That's fun stuff. I don't have a tweak of the week per se, but I did happen to go to the doctors, did my yearly checkup last week, and everything checked out great. And then at the end, she's like, "Do you have any questions?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got this watch, and we were talking about last week, Steve, my Garmin, and it tracks all my health stuff and has been for a while. And it comes with an app, and you can track everything." And I'm like, "Look at this." And anybody that's been listening to chat all the way to here, my nose has gone nasally for like almost 3 years now. And the tough thing is, and this, trust me, this has a home theater relationship to it, because I was like, holy crap. So I'm having trouble with energy. I'm having trouble with a lot of, stress and stuff like that. And I'm looking at my watch, my app, and everything's telling me my most stressful time of day is when I'm sleeping. And I've got all these stats, all these things that I'm like, look at, I've been tracking it for a while and everything like that. And she's looking at it and she's like, "Okay, you got something going on up there, like sleep apnea. We don't know what's causing it, but we've got to get a hold of it," and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I said, "Look at what's going on." I go, "I'm getting up in the morning and my stress is dropping, and I go into my theater and I watch a show or a movie, and it's giving me the stats that I should be getting while I'm sleeping. Well, maybe you should watch more movies. Can I get a prescription
Sign
for
me
that?"
up. Yeah.
Yeah. Sign here.
I was like, "Wait, what?" I'm like,
Can you say that? Can you call my wife real quick and say that
"Yeah,
again?
Yeah.
exactly." No, she's seen it. Jen's seen it. Jen
did you-
sees the thing, and Jen's worried about it too. And I'm like, "Is this something I can power through?" And she goes, "No, because you're wearing out your heart because you're not recovering every day." It's like, on the one particular stat, I'm supposed to start the day at 1 out of 100. You're supposed to start around 80 to 100, and I'm starting at 15. And they're like, "That's not good." He's like, by noontime, and it's like I'm waking up and with the energy of 8 p.m. instead of 7.
Every good rule has an exception. Did you check during the Evil Dead Rise? Because I'll be willing to bet you weren't very relaxed during that, Deej.
Yeah, it probably was. It's like, yeah. I was not worked up at all. I was hoping to get worked up. No, but yeah, it's like I go into the theater and I actually get back some that I like. If I went in there at 15% or whatever, I'll come out at 20, and then my day will go down from there, like it should. So yeah, but yeah, I thought that was pretty good. I'm like, so home theater can be healthy for you if you sit down, relax.
It does.
It does.
But it's what we do,
It
isn't
does.
it? It's a stress relief. I'll tell you that all day long with mine without doing the tracking. There's no question that I am at my happiest and most relaxed when I'm in the cinema room watching something good. Not The Fifth Element, obviously, because then I'd just be stressed.
Or Midway.
But not that or Midway.
I should've
Midway, I went
grabbed
really low. I was asleep. No, I'm just kidding.
I should have grabbed a screen grab because this was before I went to the doctors, but I was showing Jen. I'm like, "Look at this." I'm like, my stress is going up throughout the day. And then all of a sudden, and this was last Tuesday, and I'm like, "Look." And it's like, boom, crashed at 4:30. Sat down here till 7 o'clock, and everything went down. And it's like, something's going on. I'm like, all right, cool. Home theater it is. That's the cure.
Yeah. We are available on prescription, aren't we,
I
John?
don't know what the
Yeah.
disease is, but I know
Yeah,
what
we
the
don't
cure
know
You're
is.
the
what
cure.
problem is. Yeah. So
yeah.
tweak of the week: sit in your theater and relax. That was it. So
Damn right. Just don't look at the don't look at your bank balance.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There it goes again.
Don't. Yeah. Thanks, Steve.
Sorry, I talk more generally.
Yeah, I am. Quick note, thank you to everybody that made comments on Twitter the other day. But yes, we had our 30th anniversary, and she said yes. And that's the picture we took at the land because I surprised her. I told her I was working on the tractor, said it was broken. I'm like, I need you to bring me down this hammer. And she's like, all right. And she wasn't feeling well. She comes down, and I go, hey, check this rock out that I found. And I did. I found a weird looking rock. And I'm like, I kneel down and I show her the rock. And I go, oh, wow, look at this too. And I showed her this whole new engagement ring that I got her to. And I was like, well, you want to get married again? So the original plan, I told her that. She said yes, by the way. And so next year on Labor Day weekend, we will be renewing our vows on the new property. So that's where the she said yes came from that she posted. And she was like,
Yeah, you big softy.
yeah, well, we took the picture here and she's like, this doesn't go out on social media because I look like crap. And I'm like, she's the one that puts it out.
I was going to say,
Okay.
she posted it.
I know. So, yeah, so she was very excited and surprised. Because when I showed her the ring at first, she thought somebody lost it on the property. I'm like, what are you going to go to Lost and Found?
Yeah,
Like,
nice.
there's nothing around here. But so she was very happy. So very happy, very excited. And
Congratulations, mate. Fair play. And
Thank
no
you.
one on Twitter said 30 years you get less for murder.
Yeah.
But no one said that, so that's fine. Oh, hang about. Someone just said it. Oh,
oh, that's good. That's funny. Congrats, DJ. New deadline, Labor Day 2024. Yeah. So originally my plan was to renew our vows in, like, if we had been earlier and I could at least even just have like 2x4s up, like the house is framed. That I thought that would have been fun to do it in there. And obviously we're not there yet. So I adjusted and, adapted and overcame. So but she's excited.
are we all invited? Including the
Sure.
newts and the salamanders? Are they all going to be there as well? Will they be?
I did just get a package in the mail today from the state conservation about that old land. I'm like, I don't even want to open this thing.
Right.
But yeah, everybody in the chat here, thank you for the congratulations. A bunch of people, Steve, Jordan, Paul, Carl, everybody. Yep. Awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah. And it was fun. It was fun. And she, like I said, 30 years flies by, doesn't it, John?
It does. I mean, I'm not there yet, but
No, but you knew me then.
I did.
I don't feel like we're any different.
I
feel
mean,
like
I've
it
been
was the other day.
cumulatively, I've been married 30 years, just not all to the same woman. So, I don't know if that counts,
there's a
but-
story there, John.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's
It's a separate
well, I-
podcast. I want
It's
to know.
separate
I want to know
podcasts.
everything.
Yeah, I'm twice divorced, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave Jen the ring and I was like, she's brought the new ring and she's probably like, or I said to her, I go, maybe you want to keep the old ring and get a new guy? Is that an option? She's like, no. So, but, all right. Are we ready to get to this week's experiences?
sure.
All right. All right. Let's see. What do we want to go with first?
Well, we've got to go in order with John. For John's ones, there are at least 3 we've got to go in order for.
You want to go right in order on those?
We can't because these are actually going to be very quick because we've covered these in depth already. So,
Oh,
I can
not,
actually
have it.
not the latest. Oh,
Well,
and you know
yeah.
what? While you talk, here we go. Let's do this. While you talk about that, because I don't have an image for the second one, but while you talk about Equalizer
okay.
1,
Yeah.
I will grab the image for
All right.
the last one. But go ahead.
All right. Well, so just to maybe speed things on a bit. I watched all 3 Equalizer movies this week, including obviously the one in the theater. But starting with the first one, like I said, I'm not going to go super deep on these because Steve covered them both in depth in the last couple of weeks. But I had a bit of an odd thing happen when I was watching this because I noticed that when I was watching it, it was not coming through in Dolby Atmos. I was just getting Dolby Digital 7.1 or whatever it's mixed at. And so I went back to the menu because I wasn't sure if it was actually even in Dolby Atmos. And of course, the menu listed English Dolby Atmos, but it wasn't coming through. So I just kind of chalked it up to maybe there's an error or something. I don't know. And watched the movie. Movie was still great. I mean, it had the upmixing with Neural X and it sounded great. It looked excellent. And I hadn't seen this movie in a while, so I forgot just how good this movie was. But yeah, I thought, like I said, I thought the picture quality on this was excellent. And like I said, even with the upmixing, it was still pretty decent. But fast forward to 2 hours later when I plopped in disc number 2, Equalizer 2, which I had looked at the back of the package and confirmed Dolby Atmos. I still wasn't getting Atmos. And so then I had to go into investigative mode and figure out what was going on. What ways it keeps happening.
That's me. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry. And so, yeah, long story short, and you never know where to start, right? And, like when something's lost, it's always in the last place you look. And so I started with, my AVR, and I started going through the settings there and trying to make sure nothing got messed with, and everything looked to be all right. And so then it's like, all right, well, am I getting Atmos through any other movies or any other source? So then I went and I grabbed, I think, Ambulance off my rack because it just happened to be the first thing I grabbed, which I knew was in Atmos. Popped it in, no Atmos happening. So I'm like, all right, what's going on? Flipped it over to the Apple TV, threw on like Ahsoka or something, and Atmos was playing just fine. So I was like, all right, well, it's not my AVR. What's the next logical thing? And I guess it would be the player, the Blu-ray
player. Yeah.
And so then I started looking through there. No idea how this happened, but yeah, long story short, a couple of the outputs were changed from Bitstream to PCM or vice versa. I think it was PCM.
Yep.
And so I had to go and change them back to Bitstream, which I only knew because I had to go back to that YouTube setup video with the guy that tells you how to optimize your Panasonic player when you get it. And I just started comparing all his screenshots to mine. And I was like, all right, his says Bitstream, mine doesn't. Let me change these two things.
Yeah.
Popped it on and voila, there was Dolby Atmos again. But I have no idea how that happened on that machine. Now, somebody's probably in chat screaming, well, it had an update this week. And it did. And I did that after I watched these two movies and discovered what was happening. So it wasn't the update. I did the update and everything continued to play just fine. But yeah, so I don't know, gremlins in the machine or what have you. But
is there an you don't have it on auto update that maybe it saw something or?
Well, no. Well, it may be on auto update, but this thing hasn't had an update for 2 years. And so, and I know I was watching movies on it last week, whatever the previous last Tuesday, I talked about something that had Atmos and it was working fine. Right. Nobody touches this thing but me. I mean, I'm the only one that even knows how to turn it on, and there's only 2 of us living in the house. So
right.
I guess I have no idea how this happened, but,
AV poltergeist.
Yeah. But in any case, got it working, popped on number 2. And I'll tell you, man, did I notice a difference. Maybe it was the disc itself was just better than the first one. I don't know. But man, when that Atmos kicked in, this thing just rumbled. This is a fantastic disc for Dolby Atmos. It is really, really good. Movie, like Steve said, not quite as good as the first one, but still a lot of fun, pretty enjoyable. Picture quality is again These movies are great home theater experiences. It took me until the absolute last shot of the movie to realize that he had hair in this movie, and he did not in the first one. It's like it just never clicked to me the whole time, and then I was like, "Wait a minute, he's got like a head of hair in this movie."
That's
It made
funny.
him, and he looked so much younger because in the first one he looks quite a bit older, because of his shaved head, and then, but yeah, to the point where my subs, started doing the sub dance again, and they moved about 10, 11 inches
Oh,
from their spot during this movie. So I'm going to have to, side note there, I'm going to have to figure out something else because I've tried 3 different non-slip pads or whatever on the bottoms of these things, and nothing keeps them from moving. Actually, to the point where I'm thinking about just buying a couple of front firing subs and putting these up for sale. Just getting some PB 2000s or something and selling these.
so what do you have now? PB
The PC
PC
2000s, and they're down firing, and I think that's what contributes a bit to them moving. Because my sub in the back of the room doesn't move an inch, like it
Right.
doesn't at all. So I think just because these are on kind of slick wooden floors, and the pressure is just pushing down onto the floor
and lifting
they just move a lot. I ordered some
isolation.
well, no, they've had isolation feet since day one. But I've tried 2 or 3 different types of cups and pads and things to put underneath them. And they just keep moving. I did order today some like anti-fatigue kitchen mats that I'm going to put these things on when they come in Thursday, I guess, to see if that does anything. I am concerned about the response of them being on a thick rubber mat, though. So I don't know how that's going to be, but
Oh, I wouldn't worry about that.
but I probably, if this doesn't do the trick, then Black Friday comes around, SVS will put some subs on sale, and I'll order 2 new subs and throw these up on Marketplace or something, because it drives me crazy that they're always moving.
That they're dancing.
Yeah, they
would-
dance, and it's funny because it's really only the one. The one on that you see in the picture on the left is the one that moves. The one on the right, I mean, it might move an inch or less. So it's not even both of them. Which I really don't understand.
They both have the same output, right?
Everything has the same output. I mean, the mini DSP, everything was calibrated, and they should all be putting out the same type of power output. But it really only seems to be the one that really moves. But
yeah, I mean, that would drive me bananas.
it does. It drives me
I'd be concentrated on the subs and not the film.
right.
Because the very particular part of me is always wants everything exactly in its place and never should it move. And that would drive me bananas.
What
So
I
get
actually
that.
want to do that my wife just continues to fight me on is I just want to buy a couple of 45-pound plates, slap them on the front, on the top, and those things won't go anywhere because, and they're
Would it
black
affect-
and they're round and they'd be the exact same size almost. You wouldn't even know they were there.
Would
except
would
for-
that affect the sonic integrity of the unit though? Would
I
that
don't see
impact
how.
on that?
I can't see how, because really it's just a tall cabinet. Everything's
Right.
happening from the bottom. So that's what I really want to do. But my wife is like, you're not putting weights in my living room. So I don't know.
Yeah, because it's your living room, there's a number of options you could do, and it's like you could actually make a little area and just screw it right to the floor, and that it can't go outside of. The feet
Right.
wouldn't be able to dance over it, but you don't want to do that to your floor.
Right. Just my wood.
there's-
They're my
yeah,
wood
exactly.
floors.
There's-
so.
There's many. That's the difficulty of doing this in your living room, right? And but it's
Well, right. Because when it was carpet, they didn't move.
right.
Like, we put the wood floor down about 2 years ago. They were on carpet for 2 years and they were fine. It's just because the floor is slicker now. And plus the carpet probably absorbs some of the vibration or whatever it is. So,
Well, it's just more friction. It's
yeah.
harder for the feet to dance when
Right.
when you're stuck inside the carpet.
exactly. So I'm hoping that these mats will do the trick. Because if they don't, I'm going to have to buy new subs. I'm like, I don't really have any other options there. So
No.
Try a
But
couple
are
of
you gonna-
bath
are
mats
you-
under it.
Yeah.
You know, like
well,
a
the thing
rubber
is,
bath mat that has like
yeah, I
just
want
to
them.
try it.
I want it to be fairly aesthetic because it is my living room. So
Well,
I'm
yeah, but I'm
trying to
saying
keep
just
it.
try it with some of the scenes where it danced and maybe
Right.
and you know what I mean? I don't
See
go
if it
for
makes any
aesthetics
difference.
until you've solved it. And then once you've
Right.
solved it, go, all right, now how do I make that look good?
Right.
It's like, you know, because you don't want to spend money on aesthetics and then
A
have it
clear,
dance
a
right off
clear
the side
suction
of it.
shower mat may not go over any better than the weights, but
No, I was thinking the furry bath mats, like the kind that
yeah,
go
I see what
outside
you're
the
saying.
tub that are carpeted
Oh.
bath mat that have the rubber on the bottom.
Yeah.
You put that down, and you could get a couple of black ones and put even like, I mean, because they're the cylinders, you could do it. It could look like the well, those aren't rubber at the bottom. I was going to say the toilet covers.
The toilet, yeah.
Yeah, but those aren't rubber at the bottom. But
Yeah, and they're
that
not. It needs
little
to be about they're like 16 inches diameter, so it needs to
Right.
be about
Yeah,
that
but-
size. But
you're familiar with the domestics department.
oh yeah,
Go
I
in,
bet.
grab a couple of bath mats, see if it works.
Throw a couple towels down, see if that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
At
don't
the
know.
very-
Like I said, it's first
Or
world
you go
problems.
all you just go 100% masculine and you just bungee cord it to the wall.
Could do that. Could do that.
Super glue.
Strap them back to the wall. I've tried like the adhesive tape on the
Yeah.
floor, but the problem is that they don't stick very well to the feet of
The
the
feet,
subs.
right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It sticks great to the floor, but it doesn't adhere to the feet, so that didn't work either.
What about
So-
putting that adhesive tape around where the feet go, like making a little spot so that their feet can't dance outside because it's not vibrating enough to get up over that tape.
Right.
You know what I mean? That
Hovering.
thick tape. You know what I mean? It's not going to go. So what you're trying to do is contain it to that area. And if you could just put those spots around the feet, so the feet are still on the floor, but now the tape is stuck to the floor and it won't get outside that tape area.
I could try that. I have a whole package
Yeah.
of that tape you told me to buy
Yeah,
a
yeah.
while back. But
That's what I'm
it
thinking,
didn't
yeah.
work because it wouldn't stick to the feet. But I'll see
Yeah.
what happens.
That might
I have
work.
these mats coming tomorrow or Thursday, depends on Amazon. So
We've
I'm gonna try
got
those
some
first.
suggestions in the chat, guys. So
Sorbo thing.
Paul Het says
Not sure
whatever
what that
sort of a
is.
thing is. No, me neither. It's pretty sticky. I'm pretty sure that's radioactive. No, I'm just kidding. I think something else.
I mean, I'll try just about anything because anything's cheaper than new subs. Because
Yeah.
even selling these, I'm going to be out $800 to $1,000 probably. So
Jeez. So we've got Stephen Att says nail them to the floor.
nail them to the floor. Yeah,
Gorilla
I'll tell you.
glue,
Believe
yeah.
me, if I could.
Yeah.
With customer support, no, I haven't. I mean, I've had these things for 5 years now, so I mean, I don't know what they're gonna be able to do for me other than, well, I guess maybe they could give me some answers or some suggestions, but
This one's good. Paul saying I have the sorbothane pads.
you have to pretty much peel the monitors off the stand. Sorbothane. I have to look in. I don't know what that is, Paul, but I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Just make sure it's not radioactive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is,
Sorbothane
that I want to
210.
also not be able to I don't want to harm my wood floors, but
Okay. What happened there? There we go.
But they are. But in terms of the movies, go back and watch the first one again, John, or at least the selection.
I will,
scenes
yeah,
with
with Atmos.
In Atmos, especially the last. I mean, there's loads of good stuff, but the last bit in the DIY store when the sprinklers come on,
yeah,
you've got the whole. It really does feel like you're in this room and this stuff's coming down. Yeah, it is. Cool.
yeah.
But
It
they
made
are
me
both
want to
great
watch it
discs.
again once I figured out the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just didn't
Whoop,
have the
wrong
didn't have
way.
the time.
Wrong direction.
Yeah, it's
and
well
then-
worth. They are great films. They are
Yeah.
both brilliant. Yeah, looking forward to getting a third one and
Right.
hopefully continuing the trend in terms of the AV quality. Should do because it's Sony and they haven't done a bad one yet.
It
Yeah,
should.
fingers crossed.
Yeah. So
Right.
then moving on to number 3. I'm
Well,
assuming I'm
before
the
you
only...
do that,
Oh, go
before
ahead.
you go on to that, I haven't watched them, but I had a
Oh, okay.
long conversation with my father today, who took in Equalizer 1 and 2 in preparation for 3.
Right.
And he was like, "Oh, Deej, have you seen them?" I'm like, "Yeah, I saw them a while ago." And I'm like, "I'm waiting." And then I told him, I'm like, "Dad, I'm waiting for these," because he loves Denzel. He loves these. He's like, because my dad, like me, John, we love sarcasm, and
Right.
Denzel just has that. And that's what my dad and I were talking about today. I told him about our conversation about, is there a bad Denzel movie.
Right.
And he's like, no. And he's like, but it's that delivery. There's just that something in his voice that it always feels like he's just got that little bit of hint of sarcasm to it. So you just love that delivery, but he wants to see 3. And I was telling him, I'm like, Dad,
You're waiting to watch him in the theater.
yeah. I go,
yeah,
Dad, do you
yeah.
understand that? Like, once this house is done, I'm like, Dad, let's go downstairs and watch Equalizer 3. We can
Right.
watch 1 and 2, and then when the next night we'll watch 3 or something like that. He's like, oh yeah, and he goes, have you started thinking about what you're gonna do? I was like, he was with me at
That's
work.
all
today.
I'm thinking about.
I was like, what? He goes, I'm sorry, that was a dumb question.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm hoping my dad's starting to get excited for watching these movies in a theater and watching them properly, and
Right.
not on his
And not in his
laptop
little-
or
yeah.
on his little
iPad.
TV. Yeah, exactly.
Who would
So,
do such a thing? What kind of monster?
I know. So
All
how
right.
we became friends, Steve. You can't knock
Yeah,
it.
well, that's it. Yeah.
All right. And then Equalizer 3. So I'm assuming of the 3 of us, I'm the only one that's seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
You saw it, Steve?
I saw it earlier today
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Well, you
because
said
I knew
no,
you. I saw it in the
didn't-
notes. No. I put my hand up. I've seen it as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, because you put it in the notes, and I've been
Okay.
desperate to see this, so I made some time and saw it this morning.
So
Nice.
trying to keep the spoilers to a minimum. And maybe you'll agree with me on this, maybe not, Steve. But I found this one to be a bit of a change in tone from the first 2. Like this one seemed to be a little bit more story and a little bit less just all out action. Like there was, it seemed, well, I don't want to say again, I don't want to spoil too much. It doesn't, I don't want to say the body count was less, but you didn't see it happen like
On
you did in
screen
the
it
first.
is,
Right.
definitely.
The on-screen
Yeah.
body count is a lot less. So it seemed like a lot more of the action kind of takes place off screen, and this is more story driven. At least I thought. I thought it was that way. That doesn't take away anything for me. Like I thought this movie was good. I still probably put it at number 2, behind the first one, but a little bit better than the second one. And again, I really, really enjoyed this. And I think with what I said about having a little bit less action, I don't think the disc is going to be quite, it probably won't have the same punch as the first 2, but I don't think the quality will be any less, because again, it will be a Sony disc, and I think visually it'll look great, and there will be some things. I mean, there was some action in the movie, so there will be some things that happen, but I don't know. Am I off base there, Steve, or do you?
No, I couldn't have put it better myself. Yeah, I'm the same. I think that the first one I think is still the best. It's lean and mean. It's got a really straightforward but really well told story. The second one goes off on a bit of a strange tangent, and then this one I think does it. I think it tries to meld the two a little bit. And so the third one is my second favorite after the first one, and then the third one last. I did enjoy it. There is definitely a change of tone. It is a different. I mean, it's no spoiler really to say this is, because it's in the trailer. This is set in Italy. The whole movie is in Italy. Well, more or less. And the only thing I found is I thought that the Italy of this film is an Italy that has never existed. It's a kind of like it's almost like I wondered at the beginning whether he'd gone back in time to the sort of talented Mr. Ripley version of Italy. It was all kind of and a little bit hokey. I thought its depiction of this little town where you've got the vicar walking through town, and you've got the everyone's kind of interested in football, and they have their little coffee. It's all a bit on the nose, I thought. And again, this is in the trailer. This is no spoiler. But yeah, I think there is long periods of time where there's no action in it. And it is over very quickly. By the time we got to the end, I thought, "Is that it? Is that
It did seem to run.
What? Like, yeah, it just all. That's it. Oh, he's the bad guy. Oh, right. Okay. All right.
about
Then, fair enough.
Hour 40,
Yeah.
I think, is
Yeah,
100
but it just sort of
minutes or
just
so. Yeah.
finished really quickly, which was strange. But I did enjoy the fact that this, of course, is a Man on Fire reunion. So, of course, you've got, and she's in the trailer. Dakota Fanning's in the trailer. So, of course, in Man on Fire, you had Denzel Washington protecting little girl Dakota Fanning, and in this, she's grown up.
I
And
didn't
you
even
barely
recognize
recognize her.
I didn't recognize her. I had no idea that was Dakota Fanning.
It's a Man on Fire reunion. And so that's quite cool, and
I-
so that's quite good.
I did like the closing of the loop there, though. Also,
Yes,
which
although,
again,
yes,
not going to say anything
no,
else.
it was good. Yeah, that was that was quite a sweet little bit at the end. So yeah, I did enjoy it. I'm glad I saw it. In terms of the presentation, unfortunately, again, this was another disappointing presentation. This film is very dark at times, both literally and figuratively, and there's a lot of shadows, a lot of darkness. A lot of it takes place at night,
Right.
and the black bars on the top and the bottom of the screen, it didn't. There wasn't any masking used, and they were grey throughout. And you know the nighttime scenes were grey; they weren't black, and that was annoying me. And all the way through, I was thinking to myself, "Oh, I want to see this in Cinema George. I want to see this where these these bars are jet black, and it's all perfectly how it should be." So I can't wait for the disc. It's going to be great, and I think I'll enjoy it more second time round as well. But yeah, I did enjoy it. I thought it was good, and yeah, better than the second one. But yeah, there are some odd choices. It'll be fun to talk spoiler free when this is out. Sorry, with spoilers once this is out and everyone's seen it properly. Because yeah, there were some strange choices made in this. It doesn't mean it's bad, just that there are some unusual choices made. But as John Thompson said, the chap, I don't think he's in the chat tonight. It looks like everybody had a lovely holiday in Italy.
Yes, a lot of time in Sicily, which is never a bad thing.
Yeah, Naples as well. Look very nice. But as I said, the version of Italy they're showing in this is not. I'm not sure this ever existed. It's got a bit of Team America World Police about it.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Little bit.
So
anyway, but it's good.
my
It's good.
contribution to the Equalizer is I already pre-ordered on Kaleidoscape.
Oh, nice.
How much footage? It wasn't $45, was it? Because hey,
It's not a Warner's disc. So,
Oh, are you pushing buttons?
yeah, we don't want to be gouged. We don't want to be gouged.
Oh God, Steve scrolling through Twitter this weekend. Yeah, no, I think it was
$25.
I think it was $25.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, I bought it with my dad. I was showing him how that works and stuff, and I'm like, we'll get this. Like, we'll be able to watch it together, and it's like, but yeah. So I already ordered that. But
Nice.
Blue Beetles also, like I think we said that before. That's
It's out.
$39.99.
Is it out next week or something? Isn't it?
Digitally,
it's
it's
very
out.
very soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
next
very
week.
soon, which is
the 12th
funny
or the
because
14th, something.
I won't pre-order at $39.99, but if it drops and it's like say it drops next week and I'm like, oh, there it is sitting, I can watch it, I'll pay the $39.99. I'm like, all right,
I dare you to I dare you to
get
post
it.
the receipt. Post the receipt on Twitter, Deeds, just to wind up
Oh,
a certain someone. I dare you.
people know. No, it's like no, people know. It's like they know, and it's. But yeah, you can. I mean, it'll come back down eventually. They all do.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm looking forward. Looking forward to. I think I'm actually gonna wait for Equalizer 3 until the house is and watch that one with my dad, just because of the conversation we had today, and
Yeah.
maybe we'll do all of them. But another one of his favorites is Last Boy Scout. He loved that one too.
Yeah. I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, I haven't either. But he told me about that years ago. I think I'd already seen it, but he was like, "Have you seen this?" And he sounded like me. He was like going through all the different scenes, and it's like he just loved that movie. But
It is good.
yeah. John, I think this is what we're talking about right here. Is that it?
Here we go.
Orban's main sheet.
Anti-vibration isolation pad, acoustic dampening film,
Sweet,
shock absorbing foam rubber mat, 12 by 6 inch.
Send that to me if you don't mind.
I will. I'll save it up here and I'll text it to you.
Yeah.
But it's one of them for $12.99, two of them for $19.99, but it's only 12 by 6 piece. So it's not
12
super
by
cheap.
6.
Inch.
I don't know if
And
it's big enough. I need two of them,
1/8.
I guess. I need probably two for each side.
Well, you could probably cut it. I mean, you
I could
probably
get-
can
I could
cut
get
it
3
for
of
each
them.
feet.
Oh, yeah. that's
I
right.
don't even know if you need to put the whole pad under your feet,
Oh,
like
yeah.
maybe
we'll see.
Paul could, Paul's saying that's it right there. So,
Not it? Okay.
but I'm thinking that maybe you could, Paul, can he cut squares for the feet or should he use a whole square for a mat or cut it to a circle or something? So, but yeah, that's it right there on Amazon. So, all right.
Cool. Just whilst we're
Alrighty.
waiting for Paul's response.
Yep.
So we've got no Carl Rogan. Sorry Carl. Yeah, Jordan says he watched Equalizer 3 on X Plus at my local cinema on Saturday. Thought it was a great ending to the trilogy. I'm not sure it's an ending.
Right, it may not be, but
Yeah. Well, it's what's his face? Old Anton Fuqua has said that they want to do a prequel with him with de-aging Denzel. And there's a film coming out where they've done.
I actually heard they may use his son to play him.
Yeah, what he does. Yeah, I mean, they could do, but Anton
That'd be
Fuqua was
awesome.
talking about de-aging him
Right.
and actually just doing that, but which would be interesting. And he's talking about a movie after, because he said we'll be talking about the Dial of Density in a bit.
Yeah.
But he talked about a film that's coming out after that. I can't think what it was, which has pushed the technology even further. And so he said we're getting to that point where we should be able to do it. So
Hey,
we haven't heard the last of this. I think it's doing really well in the States. So I think
How cool?
Keep going.
How cool would it be if Denzel's son, they do a prequel and Denzel's son plays Denzel's character? Denzel plays the father of his own character.
Oh, that'd be great.
Well,
Wouldn't
you know
that be
that
awesome?
You know
be so
they're
meta.
doing that at the moment. Yeah.
What'd you say?
So
they're
meta.
doing that. You know they've done that at the moment with Apple TV's got a Godzilla series coming with Kurt Russell playing the older version of his character and his son playing the same character.
Really?
In years
I didn't
gone
know
by.
that.
Yeah,
Really?
it's coming out.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. It's Godzilla.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they've done that. It's exactly what
Isn't
they've done.
that cool? That's
It is cool. Yeah, it's cleverly done.
It's
Yeah.
wicked funny. That's funny. Yeah, we'll get to the dial density and this. I had a comment on that too about the whole thing. But yeah, before we get to that, making pads probably works better as you get more squish on each pad. Oh, true. And then they're not connected. So yeah, that might work. Try it all. I mean, it's not super expensive, so
No, well, if
Try it
it's
different
that,
ways.
I just need one pad. So for $13 is nothing. I paid more than that for everything else I've bought and will throw away.
yeah. Well, yeah,
Cheaper than 2 new subs.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
much. Yeah. Yeah, cool. All right. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Where's my cursor on this thing?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I think you need a
Ooh.
bat sounder for this, Deej.
I'm interested about this one,
A
Steve.
bat sounder.
You know,
Yeah,
bats, flittering bats.
I'm interested in it too. I'm like,
'Cause I've
is it
heard
something...
wildly differing opinions on this movie.
Well, let me give
And
you the
you-
correct one.
Okay,
Right.
this is
That's
the
what I'm
last
looking for.
voyage of
Oh yeah,
Demeter.
Yeah, the
Demeter?
last
Demeter?
voyage of the Demeter. Yeah, the Demeter is what
Demeter.
they say. Yeah. So this is something that I saw on a screener.
In a
It's
screener.
been and gone in the theaters in the US,
Yeah.
and to give you an idea as to perhaps what the distributors think about it and the movie makers, it disappeared from the theatrical release schedule over here, so it's gone.
Yeah.
So I was. Yeah, go on. Sorry, did you go on?
No, I'm saying it's on Kaleidoscape now, and I'm like, is this just a horror movie? Is this something that I'm gonna like? Is it something? Is it worth
Well, do you
getting?
know what
is it a
the
good home
setup
theater
is?
experience?
Yeah,
That's what I'm asking. No, I
Allow
don't.
me to assist.
Yeah.
Allow me to assist.
That's
okay,
what
so
I'm excited for.
yeah, so the film itself is based on a chapter of Bram Stoker's Dracula. And this
Okay.
is a chapter which was the journey that we know that Dracula's in this, right? So there is a coffin and other things are transported from this castle in Europe, heading for London. And in order to get to London, they put it on a ship, and the ship is the Demeter. That's the name of the ship, obviously. And whilst they are sailing at night time, things start to happen and people start getting picked off, and it's kind of how the crew deal with it and what goes on from there. It's got Liam Cunningham in it. It's got the chap that played Dre in Straight Outta Compton. I can never think of his name. Who's doing I'm sorry to talk about accents again, Deej, but he's doing a sort of English accent, but to varying degrees of success. But it's a gothic horror story. And it's very gothic. Stephen King said it's like something out of, who very, very complimentary of the film, and said it's like something out of Hammer films, Hammer horror. And that's exactly what it is. It's a proper, gory as all hell at times as well. old school Hammer horror movie, and I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. Now, what do you think of Dracula? I mean, again,
I love,
I'm not
like,
talking the
Bram
Keanu Reeves
Stoker's-
special. Yeah, and perhaps not
I
so
love
much that. It's
Bram.
more-
I love Dracula stories. I love if they're well done. I mean, last year I watched the original. Which one was?
We
who's
were,
in that?
Bram
yeah, we
Stoker's
watched
Dracula,
the
wasn't it? Yeah.
Universal. Yeah, we
Yeah,
watched
the
Universal.
releases.
Yeah.
I love those stories. It's they're fun. It's I mean that's fun old time creature double feature horror
Yeah.
movies. That
So
are
this
just,
this is that 30 seconds in both movies where they get to the shore in London and the newspaper says everybody dies on ship from Transylvania or whatever, you know.
Yeah, it genuinely is fun. Now, so I thoroughly enjoyed this. It's not an Evil Dead Rise, Deej. It's not like that. There's
Okay.
more to it than that. They do try and make it.
There's a
to give
story?
the characters some. Well, indeed, they do try to give the characters some interest and some weight to them.
Okay.
It'll be an absolutely awesome home cinema experience, or at least it should be. I watched it in 1080p, and it was only stereo. Even though I watched it in the cinema room, this was a digital screener. So I watched it on the big screen, but even then there were, because of course it was upmixed anyway, but there was movement around the room. I mean, again, it's no surprise because you can see it there. The creature has wings, so flies and this thick fog, so you've got the movement through the fog and all this kind of stuff. It should be very nice indeed. But it's going to depend on what you think of Gothic Hammer horror movies. If you like those, the old school Christopher Lee type movies, you enjoyed those, I think you'll enjoy this. If not, you might think it's a bit hokey and a bit silly, but it's absolutely played straight. There's no comedy in this. There are no quips or one-liners. It is a horror film. I had a great time with it. I really enjoyed it. And if this does come out on 4K disc, this is a day one buy for me. I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, I have no issues with recommending this. But again, with the proviso of it is one, a horror film, and two, it is Hammer horror, Gothic horror. If you like that idea, then give it a go. Can you rent it on Kaleidoscape, or can you only buy it?
Well, here's the thing. Here it is on Kaleidoscape, and they have
It's
it
in 4K.
4K, HDR, UHD, Dolby Atmos,
Oh, man.
and you can purchase it for $30 or you can rent it for $21.95.
Well, you might as well
So-
buy it.
Yeah, so there you
Okay,
go.
but just all right. Okay, so tune in next week, folks, for the
Right.
I
for the
honestly,
mudslinging.
no, I don't. No. I don't know if I'll be able to for next week because I'm going to be away.
Of
so-
course.
Yeah,
Well, you
so-
could always watch it on your iPad. I'm in a cheeky
Oh.
mood.
Actually, no, I can't because it's connected to my house. I can't take it with me unless
Take the
I
hard drive.
take.
Plug it in.
I'm on
It's
the
at Cedia.
airplane. I'm like
Somewhere in
plugging everything.
Cedia, somewhere you're going to
Yes.
be able to find a place
Exactly.
to plug the damn thing in.
Yeah, can I commandeer this? Hey, everybody, do you know who I am? I have a show to do on Tuesday. I don't
Yeah.
care if this is the trend of room and I'm supposed. They got a Kaleidoscape. I bought this.
Yeah, that's it.
We just log in and watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know that
exactly.
250-inch prototype screen. Do you mind if I
Right.
just use that for a couple of hours?
It's just it's a quick sit down. Trust me, 120 minutes goes by like that.
Yeah, it'll be fine. But yeah, so I did enjoy this. I can't say way more than I
sounds
expected to
good.
because it's my sort of movie. And I'm someone that didn't particularly like Bram Stoker's Dracula. I've only seen it once in the cinema actually, and I haven't really been back to it. This is more my kind of horror film. And
What are
and
some
it's
other
got
Dracula
bloody-
ones that you've liked? that you
Well, I
have
like
liked,
the Hammer.
though?
The Hammer movies are fine. Obviously, actually, I was going to say Blade, but that's a vampire movie. It's not a Dracula film. You don't get Dracula till Blade Trinity, and that's bloody awful.
Did you
So,
watch
so-
the Netflix show? The Netflix
I've s-
Dracula?
Not the BBC one, not the BBC quite new
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
was great.
It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was on Netflix in the States, and it was on the BBC here.
Okay,
I think that's
yeah.
the same one. That
We
was
got it
really
about
well done.
2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really nice. Kind of a modern one, and again, quite gothic in its own little way.
Right.
But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. If nothing else, Deej, again, to hint at Evil Dead Rise, the cinema experience should be Very
Yeah.
good indeed, because it's all at night. There's, but there's a little bits in the day, but mainly, of course, it's at night. There's lots of inky, dark shadows. You've got kind of things going bump in the night and creaking and all the rest of
Yeah.
it. It
Awesome.
should be fantastic. So yeah, I really look forward to seeing what you think of this. And John, again, I mean, I'll be buying the disc when it comes out. I'm 99% sure you'll enjoy it. I'm about sort of 70% sure Deej will.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm very interested in it, but I've heard lots
Yeah.
of different opinions on it. So, but I trust your opinion, and we like a lot of the same type of things.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And it has got, without no spoilers, but it has got quite a cool ending as well. The ending's
Okay.
like, ooh. So yeah, it's well worth
Right.
well worth seeing.
So this
we've
is one of
got-
those movies where you kind of feel like you know the story before you watch it.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
you know that there's a book, and this is a chapter in the book.
Right.
It's not the last chapter,
Right.
so you could probably infer certain things from that.
But it
You know,
sounds like it was creatively done, and
Well,
how
that's
much
what
I
that's
like
what
that.
I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and funny enough, who was it that said? Oh yeah, Carl said that this is something that came out during the press tour. This was what they were
Alien
aiming
on a
for.
ship, yeah.
Yeah, but not a spaceship, I'm assuming. So yeah,
I was like, an alien was on a ship. I don't know.
yeah, quite, yeah. But and there is some of that to it. Although I didn't think Alien was terribly gothic, whereas this is. It's set in that sort of those Victorian times. It's all done in
Yeah.
that way. So yeah, you might be doing it a slight disservice by calling it Alien on a Ship, but that did come out in the press tour. The director said that's what we're trying to do. So I think it's really great. Yeah, Jordan saying there, still waiting for it to release in UK cinemas. Yeah, the distributor went under, as it were. But it's so, which is a shame. But hopefully it'll hit disc in the States, so we could all just either buy it if you're over there or import it. Because I'd spend the money to import this. I can't wait to see it again.
There's
at least
right
properly.
now the last voyage of, how do you say it? Demeter?
The Demeter.
The
Yeah.
Demeter.
Yeah.
Demeter. Okay. There is no release date for the Blu-ray, and there is no 4K listed yet on Blu-ray.com. So I don't know what we're getting and when we're getting it, but yeah, we should get it eventually. I think it's just in the theaters now, barely.
I thought it had gone. I thought it had been and gone.
No, I thought it was out already.
out of the
I
theaters.
think it's coming
That's
gone.
the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, but that's what I mean. It's nowadays. It's especially with the competition. When did this come out in theaters?
Oh, it was only a few weeks back. It wasn't
Yeah.
long ago.
Right.
Yeah.
And with everything that's going on, and the theaters looking to make money, they're just moving them fast. I never even saw this showing up in the theaters at all. So,
I mean, they didn't help themselves. This is an October movie.
no,
They released this at Halloween. It would have been a real. Ooh,
Yeah.
Let's go see,
Yeah. I don't know why August was August.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
strange time to release a gothic horror.
yeah. And what I think is funny is I wasn't put off by it, but anything I've seen on this had zero interest to me. I was like, I thought it was I didn't know the backstory to it. The trailers, they didn't do a great job publicizing this.
Right.
You did a better job in the last 10 minutes, Steve. What I've seen.
I'll send them an invoice.
Exactly. I mean, it's I think they're not helping themselves in that respect, but it does sound interesting to me, and it's I know you couch it is a horror. I do like horror, and this sounds like a good one that was creatively done. And creatively done on a story we know. So I'm very interested. I'm like racking my brain how I'm going to get this in before next week.
Yeah.
But
It's got some
I'm looking
lovely,
forward
some
to
nice
it.
ick as well. There's some lovely icky bits, with a again, minimal spoilers, but with blood and creatures lapping the blood off the floor. Like,
Oh yeah,
like that. It's all like, ugh,
Nice.
but also like, wow.
yeah.
So,
Steve has
yeah.
a good point. I suspect Halloween streaming will be very likely true. Yeah, it would be fun. I think it's going to be fun for Halloween for October. So, but yeah, I'll
I
try to
recommend
get it
it,
in
guys.
before
Yeah.
then. Looking forward to it. So
Yeah. Well, anyone else again? Say, DJ. Obviously, as you'll let me know. But anyone else that sees it, do let me know what you think. I don't know anyone else that saw it. I watched it on my own.
Yeah.
This is one of those films. Funny. Oh, that reminds me. I put out on Twitter after having seen it. X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, this is so stupid. But this is a movie,
I just
by
say
the
it's
way.
pronounced Twitter.
Yeah. Twixer.
Pronounced Twitter.
Yeah.
Did you
It's,
know what I was talking about? Yep.
Then what difference does it make? Yeah.
Exactly.
This is a movie, by the way, for me, that I would not want to have seen in the theaters first. This is a movie for home cinema.
Really?
I'm glad I remembered to. Yeah, because this weaves a bit of a spell. This movie, as all gothic horror does, it sucks you into this world and just shows you kind of things that you wouldn't normally expect to see, and seeing this in a cinema with some idiot munching on nachos or phones on or talking or again after a little jump scare and then goes, oh, did you know that was coming? Oh no, I didn't know, would take you out of that and break the spell.
No, that's why I jumped.
Yeah. So this is a movie for home cinema viewing. See it at home. I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but see it at home, sound up, lights out, and just let it weave its spell. And I think most people would just love, even if you're not terribly gripped by the story, the production design and the way in which it's presented is enough to drag you into it as well. And Liam Cunningham's great in everything. He's great at this sort of stuff. Cool. So he was the Onion Knight, of course, from Game of Thrones. And he's particular, and Dog Soldiers, obviously. But he's very, very, very good in this. So I'm looking forward to seeing what more people think of it, because I said I'm the only person that I know that's seen it, so I'll be curious to see what everyone else thinks. So
I think that just showed up on Kaleidoscape in the last week or so as a new, as available, I should say. It's been a pre-order for a little while, and I had zero information on it. But yeah, that's great information, Steve. And John, get that subwoofer situation taken care of before this movie.
Yeah, I'm trying.
That way you're not distracted and you can get sucked into the world.
I'm trying.
I know.
Well, yeah, because I find myself looking at my subs more than the movie. To see if they're
I
bouncing
would
around.
too. I would.
Well, if
100%.
you took that little grass skirt hula girl off the top of it, you probably would watch it less.
Pearl Harbor special.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would be the same, John. Honestly, it would drive me absolutely to distraction. I couldn't do it. I'd nail them to the floor before I could do anything. I just couldn't stand it. I feel your pain.
Yeah.
Well, if only I wasn't married. Remember the twice divorced comment? I don't want to.
I was going to say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nobody wants that. Lydia's too good.
Yep.
Let's see. All right. You guys ready for my next one?
Yeah.
I texted John this one. I don't even know. I didn't post any pictures. Yes, I texted
No, you're
you
the
about
man of
this.
mystery with these again.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Okay.
yeah, but I texted John about this Tuesday night last week. Battlestar Galactica Season 1 on Kaleidoscape, and it is in HD with DTS Master Audio 5.1. Holy crap, the Kaleidoscape version is amazing for a couple of reasons. Okay, picture-wise, I started this back up. I've seen the first two so now on season 1 they include the miniseries, but it's considered it's not called the miniseries. It's 2 hour-and-a-half edition shows, they call it. I forget what they exactly what they call it. But then episode 1 is 33. So I've seen those, and the picture is awesome. As a matter of fact, I was watching a different movie this week that was in 4K, and I went back to watch some more of this. And there was a moment where I thought it was 4K. And I was like, wow, it does look, the black levels are really nice. The gradation is really nice. Everything looks really, really good, with this one exception. It's inconsistent grain throughout. Okay. And you can't fix that. It's just there. All right. It's like some like the battle scenes in space they look really good. The blacks, the stars, the ships, it looks amazing. And it was just so much fun to experience this again in the right way, because we streamed this years and years ago in our theater on Sci-Fi Network. And it was anytime that Universal logo comes up and the music plays, I think of this show. even if it's not before this show, because it was like, appointment viewing. Like, oh, I can't wait to see the next one. And John and I have gone back through it, and I am about to go through my third time. I started a third time before, but I didn't get all the way through. I'm finishing this one because it's like I've never seen it before. It looks, and I'll get to the sound in a second. But here's the thing, John. I went back and I started listening to the Battlestar Galacticast.
Right, which is the last time I watched this because I was listening to the podcast.
We both did that, and I listened to the podcast. I just fell off on the shows because they're so good at describing it. Right. But it's got Tricia Helfer, who is that Helfer?
Tricia Helfer,
Helfer, yeah.
Mark Bernardin.
Yeah, and Mark's a journalist or something. Tricia was number 6 on the show, Red Dress, and they said in the first or second episode of the podcast that it was shot like a documentary. That's why you have the inconsistency. That's why you have it's not a steady cam. It's like shaky cam and stuff. If you keep that in mind, I'm okay with it.
Right. Now,
all of a sudden it's like, they'll be in the Bay Area with the Vipers and stuff. And all of a sudden it gets really crappy grainy. But then they'll go to Adama, Edward James Olmos, and you're like, it's beautiful. Like the imagery is beautiful. And the detail in his face, I mean, oh my God.
Well, his face has plenty of detail.
I know. And it looks great. And then you go into space and it's awesome. So I'm not saying it's 4K. It could use some improvement, but it's the best I've ever seen it because the only other place we've ever been able to see it is through streaming. Right. And I wasn't sure about the Blu-rays. So
I've had him in my cart all week at Amazon. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet. It's like $48 for the complete series. I don't know if it includes those 2 extra episodes that you were talking about. Because there was a couple of different miniseries, and like one of them takes place between 2 of the
Black
seasons.
And Chrome, or whatever they call it, But this one, take a look. They might just label it differently because I didn't think I was getting the prequel part, which is the miniseries, but they call it something else here. So you might be getting that. But John, if the Blu-ray does the Blu-ray have the DTS 5.1?
I'd have to. I'm not sure. I'd have to pull
if it does, buy it.
Okay.
It is absolutely awesome because we've never heard it this way. We've never heard. It's always been streaming. It's always been compressed. Now it is not. I don't think anybody, unless you own the Blu-ray, has ever heard it this way. And it's like the drums. Remember the score to this? It's just awesome. The drums, when they're in space, it's like ba-da-ba-boom, ba-da-ba-boom, ba-da-ba-boom. And it's going all around you. The drums come off the wall. They go back and forth across the front. But then you also get this great sense of like what we talked about last week with gravity and the quietness of space. So they go into space. You're watching this battle go on, but they give you a sense of silence of space, but you're hearing the score, but the sense of silence comes from their guns. You shouldn't hear anything, but when, Steve, believe it or not, they're Gatling guns in space, right? On the outside of the Galactica. The Gatling guns go off, and John knows, they don't go boom, 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 boom. They go, it's a muted, but now there's like hundreds of them going off, and they're putting out this spread, and you're hearing this all over the place, and it's plus you get the it's incredible. I was just like, between the last voyage of Demeter or whatever, and me talking about, I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta get back to my theater because it was awesome. And like John said, we just absolutely love this series. And the entire series is based on AI. But this was back in 2003. Right. If you're afraid of AI today, do not watch this series. Because you're like, we're on the doorstep. What are we doing? That's how you'll feel. But it's like, it's awesome. It's really, really good. Katie Sackhoff, the entire thing. It's
I have to.
the home theater experience is absolutely amazing.
How many seasons of it are there?
5 seasons.
It's like 4, but then there's like extra pieces to it. I think it is something like
And
that.
This
how many
says it's-
episodes in a season? How many episodes are there? Is it like 10 episodes a season?
No,
like that, or is
no,
it
there's
24.
There's a decent amount.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's
The
you're
disc-
getting your money's worth.
The disc says it's 4,000 minutes, so whatever that is.
Yeah.
It comes on 20 discs, but
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just bought
Alright.
season 1 to start, and that was I paid like $30 for it.
I'm
So
trying to see
for me to
'cause-
get all, but I think I have to buy 4, and that includes everything. By the time I get to the 4, or maybe not, I might have to do. Hang on, I'll pull it up here.
Amazon's not showing what the audio is, but let's see what Blu-ray.com says.
Battlestar.
Yeah,
Galactica.
5.1 DTS HD master audio on
There
the
you go.
Blu-ray. So yeah, I'm gonna have to
So-
pick it up.
All
You
right,
see,
so
with
here,
this, you see,
here's what we got on Kaleidoscape. Well, Judy Garland at the end there, because I just put Battlestar Gal, Galactica. And there we go.
Okay.
All right. Oh, now I screwed it up even more. So we got season 1, season 2, season 3. They've got Razor, Battlestar Galactica Razor, which is another that came out in 07. But then season 4, they have season 4 right there. And then the Blood and Chrome, sorry, not Black and Chrome, unrated edition of Blood and Chrome, that's $14.99. So there's 4 seasons, and then you have these 2 other. Let's see what Blood and Chrome is and what you get with it.
Amazon over here, just for those listening who, I mean, I've not seen a single episode of this, and loads of people have said it's good.
So
And
good,
bear in
yeah.
mind that I absolutely loved the series from the 80s. And so this is something that everyone will like. Is this one that I need to see?
It is great. Yes,
Okay.
this will be my fourth watch through of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's got the 20 disc complete series box set on
Yeah.
Amazon over here is $27.99.
Oh, that's cheap. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and it's in
Yeah.
stock. So okay, all right. You know what? I'll have to.
Yeah,
put my money
I
on
think you'll
spring
like
for
it,
that.
Steve. It's
Yeah,
really
I mean,
good.
I love but the reason I think I've stayed away from it is I love the 80s so much version
Right.
that I'm worried that it'll sully
Oh,
that
God, no.
somehow, and I
Not at all.
love that.
It's actually different. It's more of an homage to the 80s, but it's completely different.
Yeah.
Just Katie
Okay.
Sackhoff alone. You know, her
But it still has the
character,
Cylons and the Vipers, and they've
Oh, yeah.
we've got
all
the-
modernized, all new. It's a different story. It's
But
I
it's
mean,
the
it's a
same characters. There's Adama, Apollo,
Yep.
Starbuck, Boomer.
Yeah.
They're all there. Yeah.
No,
and it's
okay.
and even the story is like it's an homage to the original story, but it's a completely different story. It's every character is different, but an homage. It's just really, really well done. And it's can I go back to the home theater experience one more time, please? With
Please,
Franklin.
before I end up buying it on the
I
show
know.
right now too.
so my dog, my younger dog, Franklin, I brought him down for the very first time to the theater, and I'm like, he does a really good place. He'll stay where I tell him to. I'm like, sit, stay. Okay, so he sat in Romy's seat, and I put this on. His head was moving all over the place.
Yeah.
He was enthralled. And that's not to say like, oh, this is great. It's great for dogs. This is to get to the idea of like how good the sound was, because he's looking back and forth across the screen. He's hearing noises. He's looking around. A ship flew over, and this isn't Atmos, but it was upmixed. And he went like this. My dog. I'm trying to get video, but it's too dark in the room. You can't see anything, and the phone won't pick him up. And I'm like, but he loved it. And his head was. There was one time a ship. I think the Galactica went down the left side of the room, and he went like where he's sitting. It's like right there. He went. He's like looking in the back of the room behind the chair, like, what was that, Dad? But I was having a blast watching him. And it was like, it's like, I'm sorry, John, but you got to get it.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, that final battle of the mini series anyways, is just, like I said, between the score, those drums, the gunfire, and listening to, I mean, the bass, really good. Great impact, whether it's a collision, whether it's blaster fire or an explosion. I mean, it's just,
Well, let me get my subs worked out first.
yeah. I don't think it would shake them like that. It's not that
Yeah.
bad. But yeah, it's like, and the other part you'll notice, John, I think I said this to you, I texted it to you. It's like, having watched the 78 movie,
Yeah.
there is, and it's funny, I'm seeing stuff, homages to the 78 movie, Red Dress, by the way. I don't want to spoil it for you, but you'll pick up on it if you get to see the 78 movie. And even Trisha Helfer didn't pick up on it. She goes, I don't know where my character came from. And I'm like, I do. She is in the 78 movie.
Huh.
And even Trisha Helfer, it's so funny. She's describing in the first episode of the podcast, she's trying to describe what her character is. And she even if she doesn't use the exact term from the 78 movie, she uses a term similar to it. And it's like, it's so funny because you're like, and in the 78 movie, that character, wicked platinum blonde hair, red dress. And who did she happened to meet Starbuck. So obviously she doesn't meet Starbuck in the newer version. She meets, what's his name? The bad guy, good guy.
Oh, Guy Baltar.
Yeah. Baltar, right. So, but anyways, yeah, definitely you'll see the correlation. Even the battle, not even a battle, but Starbuck and the XO, what's his name? They get into a little they have a card game and they get into a fight in the most recent one, but in the 78 version, Starbuck is who is played by, was that Richard Hatch?
No, Dirk Benedict.
No, that's Dirk Benedict, right. They're having a card game and he's about to win. And that's when the alarms go off. But it's all, you know what I mean? So like you can see like there's a lot of thought that went into the most recent one. And there's so many similarities, but so many differences. But it makes it you know the story. But it's home theater wise, I can't recommend it enough. It's, and
cool. It's old.
Like we said to Steve, I mean, what is it, $30-$40? You're getting a ton of content.
Yeah,
So-
it's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like I said, 4,000
Well,
hours
yeah.
of TV.
yeah.
Minutes of TV.
Yeah, that is a long series.
Yeah. 4,000 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. The
What is it, The
story's
Simpsons?
worth it alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My birthday's coming up month after next, so I might
Nice.
and I've been thinking about stuff to go on the list because, of course, I buy stuff as soon as it comes out,
Right.
so it's
Yeah.
quite hard getting stuff for me. So I might put that
But
on the list.
I can't I can't stress enough though that you got to keep in mind that camcorder idea. Like they were like some of the shots look like they're shot with a camcorder, but
Right.
from what I understand, that was purposeful, and it actually plays into, because that's some of the stuff that I was hoping would get improved. And I bet you if they ever upgrade this to a 4K edition, it doesn't get improved. It just gets enhanced, and it shows that it's like we're trying to shoot it this way. So, but I love it. So, all right, enough on that. I don't want to commandeer the whole show and turn it into Battlestar
The Battle
Galactica Part 2.
Yeah.
Part
Galactic
2.
Cast.
All right, what do we got next? Let's do this one, if we don't mind. It's for John,
For me.
for you.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, continuing my catch up to Steve from the last couple of weeks. Everything I watched this week was stuff Steve watched 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
This was
I've seen this one too.
And you
Deej
watched
did,
it
yeah,
last
to be
week.
fair,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this was Green Room, Blu-ray disc. I had not seen this movie. Watched it on the recommendation of my two co-hosts. Yeah, great. It was great. Lean and mean, there's no fat on this bone, meat on these bones at all. It's just tight, like 90 minutes, maybe not even quite 90 minutes, and just goes through the whole thing. I'm going to come off like the old man here, and I was almost out when they started singing because that is not my music, man.
No.
So I had to power
Not in
through
the
that.
diner, right? Are you talking about when they were in the diner that early on?
Well, no, when they're in the club. Yeah,
Okay.
when they're in the club, I was like, ugh. But yeah, this was I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I thought Patrick Stewart was, again, like you said, very against type, but menacing.
You'd
and
hope.
very calculating and evil. And I really liked the setup of this movie, like the way they had figured they were going to deal with the casualties that they were creating. I thought was interesting because I've never seen anything done quite that way before. And, I'm trying not to spoil things for those that haven't seen it yet because it is pretty different. But as far as the quality goes, so again, this was Blu-ray, 1080p. But I thought it was very vibrant. It did hue green throughout most of the movie, and I'm assuming that was done on purpose. So don't adjust your settings. But it was very, very crisp. I thought the image was excellent. And then, of course, 5.1 master audio up mixed to Neural X. And I thought it was pretty great. Yeah. I really dug it. Yeah, not sure how many times. Like, I'm not sure how rewatchable it is. Like, I don't know that I'm going to go back to it a bunch.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I bought it, and this was $8.99 or something ridiculously low, under $10, and it's well worth it. If you haven't seen this movie, pick up the disc and give it a watch because it's really tight and it's really good. So
yeah,
go on, Teach. Sorry. Go on.
Okay. Like I was gonna say, like we said before, it's like, how did it get to this point? And it seems like we've never heard of. John and I had never heard of this when you brought it up, Steve. And it is a great home theater movie. It's a great movie. It's a fun movie. I'm not saying it's great. It's no Casablanca, but it's a great, fun, entertaining movie, completely enhanced by the home theater experience. And how has it gone? What's it now? Almost 10 years since it came out. So yeah, I'm like, wow, it's like stuff slipping through the cracks here.
Yeah. Well, I don't imagine this came with a lot of fanfare. It probably came and went pretty quietly. And yeah, it just takes that one person to find it and start spreading the word, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you were lucky enough to get it in 4K in Atmos, right? On Kaleidoscape. So
yeah, so I'm hoping someday that'll come to physical somewhere.
I would definitely, I would pick it up and watch it again for sure.
Oh,
if it came to 4K with Atmos, I would definitely give it at least one more watch. But
I would.
That being said, I don't think the experience was lessened a whole lot by not having it here. HDR might have done a little bit of good, but it was pretty colorful, pretty bright, pretty crisp, even with the Blu-ray. So
yeah.
I can't help but think that they missed a trick then with the Casablanca thing, Deej. I mean, of all the Nazi punk joints in the world, you stroll into my one.
Yeah.
Play it again,
well,
Adolf.
there were Nazis in that one, so yeah.
Yeah. I think there was something to be done there. No, it's good. And again, if I may, because just to reiterate again, there are two other movies that this director's done that are worth your time as well, and that have sort of some similarities to it. So, Brawl in Cell Block 99 and Dragged Across Concrete are worth seeing as well. Vince Vaughn in both of those, Mel Gibson in Dragged Across Concrete as well. And for genre movies, they are really worth seeing. Dragged Across Concrete's only on Blu-ray. Brawl in Cell Block 99 is on 4K, but not in HDR. But in terms of movies where people are against type, Vince Vaughn, certainly in Brawl in Cell Block 99, is playing a very different role to what you've seen him in before. He is magnetic in that. So I recommend those as well if anyone wants to see sort of similar movies as well. So well worth it. There we go.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm searching right now. I feel like I have that Dragged Across Concrete. You own it, 4K HDR. Yeah, I have it.
There you go.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it is 4K. That's intriguing. It's only on Blu-ray disc, I think. I don't think there's a 4K disc of it anywhere. Otherwise, I'd have got it. There it is.
Yeah. I have it.
Yeah.
I can download. I'm like, when you said that, I'm like, I know I bought that. I can't remember why. And but I bought it a while ago, and it's sitting on my Kaleidoscape, and I'm like, oh, okay.
It's quite talky. But it's Tarantino-esque. The dialogue
Yes.
is really well done. It's good. It's really good. And again, I thought you were
yeah.
going to say of the two, you'd have had Brawl in Cell Block 99 because that was the bigger of the two. That came
Okay.
first. But as I said, you want to see Vince Vaughn do something that you've never seen him do before, whatever the antithesis of Dodgeball is, that's what this is, because he is an absolute monster in
Nice.
Brawl in Cell Block 99, and
Oh,
not a
okay.
very sympathetic character. But he is the hero of the piece, but not much of a hero.
Right. Oh.
So I do recommend it. They're both great movies.
Yeah. But that it had to be a listener telling me about it. And I was like, and they probably described it like you're describing your movie. And I'm like, all right, gotta have it. Click. There it is. I bought it. And I'm like, I just haven't seen it yet.
That's good. It is good.
There you go. All righty. Let's see. What else do we got? We got here we go. Let's try this one for Steve. Try this one on for size, Steve.
Right. Okay. Now, John, I'm returning the favor.
There
So
you go.
you've been watching the movies that I recommended, and now
Does
I'm
anybody-
watching a series that you
I didn't
recommended.
catch this in the notes. I'm glad to see this.
Anybody paying attention to the guy producing over here? What do you think? That's an accident? Come on.
Smooth. So this is The Bear on over here. It's Disney Plus. I think it's Hulu over there, isn't it?
It's Hulu, yes.
Yeah, so we've got it on Disney Plus here. Both seasons. I'm 5 episodes deep in the first one. This is televisual crack.
Isn't
Once
it?
you start, you can't stop.
Yeah, it is so good.
This is one of 2 series I'm going to talk about this week.
Televisual a word?
Well, you tell it.
I don't know, but I like it.
It is now. It is now.
Going on the poster.
Yeah.
yeah, like crack.
Yeah. Televisual crack.
Because what I love about this is not only is it instantaneously unmissable, so just watchable as all hell from minute one, but also what I particularly love is the episodes are 28 minutes, 30 minutes tops, so it's straight in. You get a hit of this stuff, and then it's gone. And then it's kind of the next one, and this is absolutely brilliant. I'm really, really enjoying it. And again, I absolutely, John, because I think you said once you see this, you're thinking of the food and those beef rolls.
Oh
just
man, I know they look
beef
so
sandwiches.
good.
It's just like yeah, first flight to Chicago.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's really, really good. And I've had to kind of pace myself. We watched 3 episodes in one go, then 2 episodes the next night, and it's like, right, well, let's split them up because there's only 10 episodes, 9 episodes per
I think
season.
there's 9 or 10. It might be 18 total,
Yeah, in
maybe
total.
20.
So we've got to kind of pace them a little bit. But it's really, really good. And I mean, this isn't one from a home theater perspective. I don't think. I've only watched this on in the front room on a smaller TV because I didn't figure it was much of a home cinema film or series. But it's really, really good. And once you start, you just can't stop. I mean, Pringles or crack, whatever you prefer. Once you pop, you just can't stop. And Deej, have you seen this?
No.
No,
Oh, man.
So
John, will he like it?
he'll love it.
I
Okay,
will.
right.
It is tense. I mean, it's stressful.
No, I don't
Yeah. I
mind
think
that.
it's-
But
I think it's what
it's about
keeps you
cooking,
over.
no?
No, yes and
Oh.
no. It's not.
Okay.
I mean,
No.
you got to see it. You
I
really
ha-
got to see it.
Yeah, nobody's given me like what it's about. Like they're just it's really good, but I'm like, it seems like it's about like chefs and cooking.
It
or
is
something,
about
and I'm
chefs.
like,
But
It
not-
is a bit
yeah.
about cooking, but it's the interpersonal relationships of these characters that
Okay.
are working together. They're brought together in a workplace environment, and there's clashes of personalities. There's
like every workplace, huh?
agendas. Yeah.
Except
I mean,
mine.
it's just
And it's
just it's reductive to call it a cooking show, but it is.
Well,
It
that's why I'm
revolves around
asking. I knew
food.
it's not
Well,
just that, but I'm like,
yeah.
I'm asking like,
But it's
what
not,
what is
um,
it?
It's more about the relationships between these characters and what they're
okay.
trying to accomplish.
and they're not in a sort of highfalutin kind of posh restaurant. They're in a
No,
like a hot dog stand, basically.
Yeah,
a
this is
glorified hot dog
this
stand.
is a Italian beef sandwich shop in Chicago. You know,
Yeah.
Um,
So they're trying to
okay.
make a go of it, and this guy steps into it, having found himself through various circumstances. And I was talking to someone about this. It's got some Shakespearean stuff to this as well, because you've got two people in this who should be elsewhere. They should be destined for something better, something greater, and find themselves in a place where they should not be, and in terms of fate, if you believe in that kind of stuff. And it's the idea that when you're in a place that you should not be, things are out of whack, things are not going the way they should be. And at least in the first 5 episodes, that's kind of how and it's playing with that destiny. Where should not density? Where am I? Should I not? If I'm not here, why should I not? Why am I here? And what is going wrong that has brought me here? And that then has ramifications on everything else. It's riveting, absolute non-stop. Just absolutely fantastic. I
right.
really, really recommend it. And the beauty of it is, Deej, watch the first episode. It's only 28 minutes.
yeah.
It's
All right.
it's on, it's gone. And then if you like it, great. If not, you don't.
And you
28
and
minutes.
Jen, yeah. I mean, this is a couple.
It's something me and Jen could
yeah,
watch,
watch it with Jen.
Maybe we'll watch it tonight with dinner.
And yeah,
Check
there
it
you
out.
go.
Well, I recommend a beef sandwich when you're
And
watching
again,
it.
I've said it before. Season 2 is better.
Oh, wow.
Can't
yeah,
wait.
it's
That's
just
so cool.
better. Yeah.
Mm.
So
All right. Let's see. Where's mine? What's my next one that I can do here? Let's do this. Oh, this is a fun one. So, this is Teenage Mutant Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
now talk about coming fast to digital.
Mm.
Well,
Like I think this is still playing in my theater next
Yeah.
to my store.
yeah.
you know.
Well, a lot of them are. They're just
Yeah.
because they're just cashing in. They're getting them out on digital while people are still thinking of it in the theater. I think it's fun. I like how they're running. The studios are doing this. It's like they learned from COVID. People we're going to put it in the theater. And I mean, look at Maverick stayed forever because we were voting to keep it in the theater. It was like every week it was like 1 or 2 for months and months and months. Once they see it drop, they're like, what are we doing? Let's get, while it's hot, or it's on their minds, I should say, let's get it out to the masses. And they do it. And so, yeah, I was very, very surprised how good this was, both movie wise and home theater experience wise. I wasn't shocked at how good the sound was. It's in Dolby Atmos, sounded amazing, very dynamic, lots of fun. The music with it, the characters, the voice, the dialogue, everything, the action, everything going on around you. I hate to say it, but when something's so good, we get a lot of great content. So it's like you really got to wow us to do something crazy. This is awesome. It's audio wise, it's awesome. The picture in this is what really shocked me. I was expecting something along the lines of any of the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse type of thing. It's like that, but completely different. It's a different type of art, and it is very, very good. That plays so well in 4K with the HDR. And what I ended up doing is I had so much fun with it. I went back, I watched it twice. I watched it I bought it on Kaleidoscape. I bought it on iTunes.
Oh, jeez.
I won't say that. This is hard. It's hard to describe. The physical's definitely better by far, audio wise. The physical is definitely better. The picture, because of the nature of this movie, it's not Batman, the Batman where there's a nuance and there's a lot of detail. This is a very high contrast, bright neon colors. You would be hard pressed to go, if you walked into a room and know, even into my room, you would be hard pressed to know which one I had on picture wise. when I bounced back and forth on still shots, you'd see a difference, very slight. When you're watching it live and watching it play out, the overall feel, the physical media is going to give you a better sense of 3D, a better sense of, you get brighter brights and dark, not really darker darks, but more detail in the dark areas. Okay. So it still looks like black, shadowy area, but now you're seeing more stuff there as opposed to the stream. But if you're not doing an A/B, don't sleep on the stream. Have fun with it. But the audio is not as dynamic. You don't get the same bass. You don't get the same reaction. It's just not even close. That's where they're really lacking with the streaming, and where physical media really takes over. And it just, I mean, they're putting all their eggs into the video, the picture presentation, because everybody has a 4K television and they want it to look good, right? But audio wise, we're the only ones that can tell the difference. And unless you have systems like we all have, you're not really going to hear the difference. So I understand why they're doing it. Someday it'll catch up. But for now, but this is such a fun movie. John, have you seen this in the theater?
I haven't seen it. No, I haven't seen it.
It is, there's cameos in here that are funny. There's stuff in the background in the art that you want to pay attention to, homages and stuff. There's the story, completely different. It's a different origin story for all the characters, actually. Yes, every single character has a different origin story, and it is a lot of fun. I consider myself an original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. John and I liked them in high school back in the 80s before they became who they are. Knew the story, knew the black and whites. We knew that, and this is completely different. But I mean, Kevin Eastman's in it, and he actually plays a character at the end, a guy at the end, and he has no writing credits, I don't believe. But what were you gonna say?
It didn't seem to me like a version that I was going to enjoy from the trailers and the previews of it. I have heard a lot of good things about it though, so I am looking forward to watching it. But I skipped it because it didn't look like it looked very Nickelodeon, kids version to me, and I wasn't sure that I was going to like it. But
it is.
Again, I've heard good things.
Yeah, there's a lot of good sarcasm. There's a lot of good jokes in there that when you're watching it with a kid, they're not going to understand it. But adults will be like, whoa, I got that one.
They're all Nickelodeon types, I guess, anyways. But, but I don't know. It seemed like it. I didn't think I would like it. I don't know how to put it that way. But yeah, I'm going to check it out because I've heard a lot of people have really enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, I wrote like modern tale that I hope finds a whole new generation of Turtle fans, because it is a different story. It is modernized for today's kids, but I like that. It's freshening even for me, 53-year-old me, it's freshening it up for me. And like I said, the art is amazing. I can't stress that enough. It's like how good and how just it's the 3D parts of it. It's not 3D, or I didn't watch it in 3D, but it just looks so good. And that's on the physical. You lose a little bit of that when it comes to the stream, but it's really good. I didn't take a lot of notes on it because I was so just enthralled with the movie itself, and I didn't want to look. And there's so much going on in the background. There's so much detail and little, I want to there's writing graffiti on the walls, and it all means something. So I didn't even want to look down for a second to type something. So if I typed anything, I paused the movie and went, all right, I got to say this, because I didn't want to miss anything. And it is so well done. But I did say at 48 minutes, the piano, and you'll know it when you get there, but the piano music that you hear, it starts slow, but it goes back and forth across the front of the room. 1 hour, 32 minutes, 20 seconds. mid-credit scene that when you guys see this, it's a quote, if you will, that you two will know oh so well from me.
Oh, okay.
And when you hear it, you'll laugh, and then you can talk about it on the show.
All right.
But you'll know what I'm talking about. So that's 1 hour, 32 minutes, 20 seconds. It's the mid-credit scene, and it's pretty fun. I started cracking up. I was just like, the reason I was cracking up is because before the quote was said, I was like, come on, people. And I said the quote out loud in my room. Then they said it, and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, John and Steve are going to rip my head off. But so it'll be good. You'll know
Well, now I'm
exactly
looking
what it
forward
is.
to it.
Yeah, exactly. You'll know exactly what it is. It's pretty funny. But yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. So really, really good. So hopefully you like it, and I didn't spoil it for you by making it too good. I tend to do that.
You do.
I do, but I'm excited. I can't wait to hear what you think of this one. Moving on. Here we go.
Me again. All right.
Yeah. Well,
So-
you watched a ton this week.
I did.
You
I
got a
did.
ton going here, and we put 3 all together.
I know. Well, that's why I
Did you
did that.
work?
I did, but I took
Okay.
yesterday off. I watched,
Oh.
although I only watched, I watched Green Room and then my last one yesterday. So
Okay.
I watched 2 movies yesterday. But this is Only the Brave, Blu-ray disc, 1080p, master audio, 5.1. Another movie I had not seen before. So funny thing with this, I didn't know this story at all. I knew that it was based on a true story, but I didn't know the story. So we're like, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes into the movie. Lydia looks over at me and she goes, "Is this based on a true story?" I said, "Yeah." And she says, "Oh, this is the one where such and such and such happens." Well, thanks for that, babe. Appreciate you spoiling the end of this movie for me. So
oh man,
if
poor
you've
John
seen
can't
it, you
escape
know-
spoilers on his
I know,
couch.
even from my couch, from my wife of all people, who does not pay attention to anything theater wise. But
Well,
you know,
yeah,
'cause
because
she-
don't they say based on true events right at the
but she
opening?
keeps that. Well, she was probably looking at her phone. To be fair,
Yeah,
but,
what's the story about?
but yeah, but she does keep up with world events, so I guess she had heard about it. But anyway, all that being said, like, if you've seen this movie once, you know the ending. So if you ever watch it again, it's already spoiled for you. So, but yeah, this is a great movie. Also, Steve's been talking about it for a while. I think you watched it and talked about it a couple weeks ago, right?
Yep.
And Steve did.
Yeah, we both happened to watch it.
several months ago. Yeah.
I'd had it on my Kaleidoscape. Steve saw it, told me I should see it. Obviously,
Yeah.
somebody else did too, because it was already on my Kaleidoscape.
Yeah.
And then Steve watched it a couple weeks ago. When I saw that, I got up early and I watched it. So,
Right.
yeah. It's,
Yeah. So yeah, another one where I feel like it looks great. I'm sure 4K could improve it some, but I don't know. I thought the picture quality on this was awesome. Especially one of you made mention to the beginning with the fire bear.
Yeah.
I thought that looked great.
Yeah.
I don't know what HDR would do for that it wasn't already there, but it looked great.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is pretty vibrant. Lots of color here, lots of green, lots of yellows, reds, fire. I thought it looked great. Audio I thought was fantastic. There's so many scenes with the fire raging in the woods, and you've got crackling happening all around you. Again, I think an Atmos track would enhance that, and it would be even better. But man, you don't miss anything with the experience here. I thought it sounded excellent. And yeah, this was again just a really solid movie. I recommend it to anybody that hasn't seen it. And if you know the story, watch it anyways. If you don't let your wife spoil it for you while you're watching it. But yeah,
Oh, yeah.
really good.
It is. And these are more modern movies, even on Blu-ray. It's getting harder and harder to discern Blu-ray from 4K even with the HDR, because our displays are so good at quote unquote up converting to a degree. And I mean, yeah, you have 123 inches. Steve's got a large screen. I've got a large screen. That's if anybody's going to see the differences, that's where you're going to see it. Anything down below 70, you really can't see a difference in 4K or 1080. And if it's done well, which a lot of these are, it's really
good. Yeah.
They're really good. And it's like people, I said it earlier on Twitter. I think Mark V made the comment. It's like I can't remember what the movie was, but it was like, oh, it's not in Atmos on disc, but it is on streaming. No. Don't get caught. And I'm like, and Mark said, oh, no, I'm not. I was just saying, as an option. But don't get caught up in codecs, because a 5.1 physical audio is superior by far to a stream of Atmos, because it's Atmos it's Atmos, but it's such a compressed Atmos. It's not the true HD. It's Dolby Digital Atmos. It's a compressed version. Right. And you can't make that up. You can't add on dynamics after the fact. So take the 5.1, enjoy, and and like you said, it's like,
it's really good. Yeah, it's really
I think
good.
if the 4K ever comes out and you were able to A/B it, you wouldn't even see a difference, because the time it would take you to switch the disc.
That's the thing. I have no way to A/B
which?
anything. So
right, I mean, and it's like that. I'm having a hard time, and I can A/B in like 10 seconds, and they're that good. I'm not gonna. I mean, disc is superior, but it's close.
Yeah. That being said, I mean, I've got the 4K Atmos version of this from Germany.
Oh, okay.
And this was shot mainly in IMAX. So the 4K disc is a thing of beauty. I mean, it looks phenomenal. And the Atmos is great because, of course, there's lots of helicopters and planes going overhead and all that stuff. So
scene when they were pulling the water out of the pool.
Yeah, out of the swimming pool. Yeah. And that right above you. Yeah.
And they do it in slow motion, so you get to hear that. And the bass in the room and the overheads, the feel I got on my chest from it felt like the air was pushing on me, but it's not. It's a combination of what's going on around you. But it's like, that is just, but I'm sure you had that to a degree, John.
Oh, maybe I did. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe not the same as a Atmos track. And like I said, I didn't realize. I'm sure you mentioned it when you talked about it, but I didn't realize there was an import 4K.
Yeah, it's in case you go looking for it, because it should be cheap because it's been out there a while. It's called No Way Out over there.
No Way Out.
Yeah, that's what he said.
But if you type in Only the Brave into Amazon Germany, it'll still come up.
Right.
But I would recommend getting this, because it shouldn't be super expensive. It should be quite cheap. And because it was shot with IMAX cameras, and as I've said before, this was, and by the way, I got this wrong when I talked about it a few weeks ago. I think I said it was Jonathan Liebsman that directed it. It wasn't. It's Joseph Kosinski, who directed Maverick. And this to me looks like a movie that was a warm up for Maverick. It's like, it's not just the same actors. It's, it looks the same. It's got the same sort of setups, the way the vehicles are shot and that kind of stuff. And so I would really recommend the 4K disc if you can get it for a good price. It is really good. But yeah, DJ, you're right, and John, you're right. I'm sure the Blu-ray looks amazing as well. But I think if you can get the 4K disc for a sensible price, I would recommend it. I've seen it twice and really impressed both times. So yeah, it's worth picking up, but don't go spending crazy money on it. But it is good.
Don't spend Lawrence of Arabia money. That's what you're saying.
No, that's what I was trying to think of. I couldn't think of what it was.
Yeah, because you'd probably be disappointed because, like you said, it's not that. I mean, it already looks really good,
right,
and sounds good.
Yeah.
So, John.
Yeah, sorry, John. Yeah, you beat me to the.
Yeah.
24, 25.
Oh no, I was saying. What is it? 24.25 on Amazon UK. Yeah. No, I was grabbing the. John was saying, DJ, you have the luxury of the Lumigen, and we've talked about that before. And yes, I do, but at the same time, I think the first time it came up was with what what was it, 2012. And there were some scenes in that. It's only in Blu-ray. There is no 4K edition anywhere of that. And I was like, this looks amazing. It looks almost 4K. And some listeners said the same thing. Like, do you think it's the Lumigen that's doing that? And I was like, I don't know. It's a good question. But like even John talking about, I almost said No Way Out, Only the Brave here. It's like, even John's like, he doesn't have the Lumigen. And he's like, wow, it looks amazing. And the thing is once I have the Lumigen in line, it's not like I can, it raises all boats. And we kind of said, and maybe it can raise Blu-ray a little bit more, but it's raising everything. And so I can still see a difference between a 4K and an HDR and a 1080, but and same with the stream. But it's not like, it has to be a well-done Blu-ray. And that's what we're talking about here, is that it is a well-done Blu-ray. And that's what, if it's a badly done Blu-ray, a Lumigen no video processor can save that, and it's like, even to the degree of like what I was talking about before with Battlestar Galactica, it's like, there are cuts in that you're like, ooh, but it's the way it was shot. And it's like, Lumigen isn't going to clean any of that up. Yes, what the Lumigen really does in this case is the biggest benefit there is, so say if you don't have a video processor, you're putting on a 1080p and you probably have a setting for your display for that. And then you're putting on a 4K with HDR, you have a setting for that. Because that's what I did. My projector had different settings for SDR, HDR, 4K, 1080, all of these different things. What the Lumigen does is it does all of that for you. So you just set your projector and then that's it. And no matter what I watch, it puts it through in the best possible way. Other than that, you can't make a bad disc look good, but I can improve it on my level, but it's going to improve everything. It's harder to explain, but I wouldn't say that like what John's saying, or if a good disc is a good disc, I wouldn't say that it was because of the Lumigen or something like that. I mean, there's a difference between good discs, bad discs. So
look at this, guys. Just Jordan says, I'll have to grab this on 4K disc, given how much Steve is praising it. And then good old John Thompson then comes in straight after with, there's only 10 left in stock now because I just bought one.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you think
John, great point. A video processor is still only garbage in, garbage out. Absolutely. Right. And that's what I see. John, you want to take over the show? That was a lot quicker. We could have a 10-minute show if John was running it.
Yeah, succinct and to the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think that at this time on a Tuesday night, Amazon noticed a spike in physical media sales?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, every Tuesday at 6, these random Blu-rays are selling all over.
Yeah. There was a comedian that said that once, and he's doing a show, and he goes, let's all go down to the local, 7-Eleven, 1,000 of us, and we'll all buy a Yoo-Hoo and watch them try to do their inventory the next week.
Right.
I don't know. We got to get ready. They're coming in. It's like, that's fun. That's fun. And speaking of that, Steve, did you hear me on my Takeover Tuesday that I did myself? Talking about the affiliates? Okay.
Yeah,
I apologize to you.
Okay, what did I do?
I apologize to you. You didn't do anything. I did. So a few weeks ago, you made the joke like this, like people are buying stuff because we're saying, you're like, if we could only just get that affiliate. And I was like, and I snapped. I was like, no, we don't want to do that. And I went on it but in my Takeover Tuesday, I explained to the listeners, I'm like, that's how sensitive I am to it. It's like we talk about stuff that maybe you don't like or maybe you won't like, but I would never want it's that mentality of myself that it's like, to me, that's a conflict of interest. It's like if we're talking about a movie and it's like, and you can go on Amazon, click in the links and buy it for us and we'll make, I never want that. I love what we're doing and I love that people are buying. if you're buying because of us, tell everybody else, and that'll get them to listen to us, and be like, oh, I bought some great movies because of these people. That's what I want. I don't want to
We've
make
talked
money
about
off
it before. It's a joke. It was just me messing
Sorry,
about.
John.
I just like,
I said, I don't want to make money off it. And John's like,
Yeah, I know.
I do.
I do.
Some of us do.
All right.
Good.
But
Some
yeah,
of us
no,
just
no,
need to pay for
like
our
I said-
Blu-ray.
I know.
Yeah.
I just
I need to
felt
be able to
bad
buy more
'cause
movies.
when that show ended, when I went upstairs for dinner, I said to my wife, I'm like, I snapped on Steve, but I don't think he even
No,
noticed
I
it.
didn't
But
take it that
I
way.
felt
No,
bad.
no.
I know you
Oh, man.
didn't, but I know how I felt. And I was like, no. I was like, oh. It was like, it's in
no,
the
it's
show.
fine.
You could see it. Yeah. So, all right.
Ooh,
Let's.
yeah.
You ready for this one?
Mm.
All right. Steve's all excited.
Yeah, well,
Here
having
we
seen
go.
the whole thing. Now, have you guys heard of Twisted Metal, the Peacock original TV series?
I have heard of it. I also avoided it. So I'm waiting for you to change my mind.
Oh, prepare to have your mind changed,
All right.
Mr. Circoni. Okay,
Oh.
right, fine. Now, this is based. Now, this will get Deej on board. Now, when I say this is based on a PlayStation video game, so after Gran Turismo,
I figured
you know,
that. Yeah.
yeah. Now, this was a series of games. If there's been a number of them, but I
Yeah.
was, around when PlayStation 1 came out, and I think the first one was on that. And this is a Peacock original TV series, which I've been able to access this week, again, through a screener. This is a review copies, basically. And I was able to get access to it. And I've seen the entire 10-episode season this week. Now, this is the second series this week where every episode is about 28 minutes long. So nice and short, nice and easy to watch and crack on. And I loved it
Right.
way more than I should have done.
Really?
Oh, it is brilliant. It's got Anthony Mackie, as you can see, and and I forget her name. She was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Forgive me, I'm terrible. And there are Thomas Hayden Church is in it. You've got numerous other people. The voice of the psychopathic clown who is on there, called Sweet Tooth, is none other than Will Arnett. And so watching it is a bit like watching an episode of Shameless, or listening to an episode of Shameless, because he doesn't try and change his voice at all. And I had an absolute riot with this week. It's been brilliant. Now to try and explain what it's like Zombieland. So that'll get you on side, Deej, in terms of its kind of anarchic humor. It's very acerbic. It's silly humor, but it's quite clever at times. It's kind of, it's violent, it's gory, but it's very, very funny. There are cool cars in it, Deej, so that'll get you on board as well. All with massive guns attached and everything else as well. Because that's what the video game was. It was just people driving around in cars and shooting each other and smashing things up.
Yeah.
It's very, very entertaining. And I think it's been and gone. I think they dropped all 10 episodes in July, and then it just kind of came in with a bit of a whimper and then went away. I really hope they do a season 2. It's got Nev Campbell in it as well, who pops up as well. It's really, really fun. What I'd say is, if you've got Peacock, I think you guys have, haven't you?
I do, yeah.
You watch episode 1. That'll give you an idea as to what it's like. Again, it's 28 minutes. You like it, happy days. If you don't, no problem. You can I'll put it in your rear view mirror.
Just added it to my list.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I said it's been great, and watching all 10 episodes, it just flew by, and it beautifully builds to the last episode where it becomes the game. Very cleverly done. And I absolutely enjoyed it. If you like Zombieland and you like that kind of humor and that kind of mixture of gore, but also kind of stupid, silly humor and everything else, then I think you'll enjoy this. If you don't like Zombieland, probably give it a skip. But otherwise, I really would recommend it. And it's just that's the thing that kind of it reminded me most of. And I know, Deej, you're a fan of those, aren't you? So I would I would give it a go.
Twisted Metal when that first came out, it was people were doing racing games and they were just like running into things. So
it
they
was like
actually just
Destruction
made a
Derby and
game
stuff.
exactly. A smash up derby racing game type thing. So they just actually leaned into it and came up with Twisted Metal. How's the home theater part? Is it really
now, bearing in mind, I watched it on a variety of things this week because I've been very
Okay.
busy. So I watched it in the cinema room. I watched 2 episodes in the cinema room. It's been shot. It looks to have been shot in 4K. because it's razor sharp. And I watched the 1080p version. The review versions very rarely would come in 4K. So it's 1080p, but it is razor sharp. It looks really well done, to its detriment at times, because some of the effects are rather shown up by that. So on bigger screens, you're gonna see some of it, not all of it, but some. But this is really about the writing and the comedy of it. It's very, very funny and really, really well done. But it does look amazing. Sound I can't really review because it was not in 5.1 or anything like that. It was only really in 2-channel, which is upmixed. But I imagine it'll be great. And I fingers crossed, they release this on disc, this will be a day one buy for me straight away. I really look forward to seeing this again. So yeah, now I'm mildly worried that people will watch it and go, what a load of crap.
Why?
But
you're allowed to like things that other people don't like.
I know. But this is why the beauty of it being on TV. You don't have to buy it first.
Right.
Watch it, see what you think, and then let me know. Do let me know. Even if you think it's crap, it'd be great to know. Just to answer things, because I just happened to see what John has just put in there. Have you guys seen Gunpowder Milkshake? Yes, I have, John. I have seen that. I thought it was.
Too? I did, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
For me, I thought it was not as cool as it thought it was. It wanted to be Kill Bill and Sucker Punch, and it wanted to be that kind of movie. And I personally didn't think it got anywhere near that, which is a shame because I wanted it to, personally. But that's a different film for a different time. What did you think of it, John?
I kind of felt the same. I mean, I didn't dislike it a lot, but yeah, I thought it was not as well done as other movies of the same genre.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed it.
I don't own it. I think there is a 4K disc somewhere. I might have to pick that up and give it another watch.
On Netflix, I think I streamed it. I didn't buy it.
But yeah, but this one recommended. Twisted Metal, guys, watch it. Let me know what you think.
All right. All right. You ready for another one, Steve? Because my next one,
go on.
we did.
We did quickly knock the lawyer one on the head nice and quickly.
There you go. So we'll start off with you. We're talking The Firm in 4K.
Yep, 4K disc. So this was a busman's holiday for me. So I got to revisit the Firm. Now I haven't seen this movie for a long, long time. I've only seen it 2 or 3 times, I think, before this. I never owned the DVD. I never owned the Blu-ray. I might have had the VHS, maybe, but certainly never owned it. Other than that, if I did have it on that. So this was the first time I'd seen it in a long time, and certainly the first time in 4K. Now, what I didn't realize is this has become a little bit of a controversial disc. It's a Paramount release. The movie is good, really good, and I enjoyed it much more this time for reasons I'll explain in a minute. But to my untrained eye, in terms of this movie itself, because I hadn't seen it for a long time and couldn't compare it to anything else, I thought as a Paramount disc, it was excellent.
Yeah.
And it's so detailed and so much life in the images and everything else. I thought it was fantastic to look at. I really did.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, okay. Well, I'm glad, Deej, because as I found out only today, one of my Twitter followers today has just ordered it. And actually HD Movie Report, who's the chap from HD Movie Report, John, Jim.
Yep.
Now he mentioned it and then that it was on sale. And one of my other Twitter followers said, "Oh, I'm going to get it." And I said, "You won't regret it. It's great." And he said, "Oh, well, actually, lots of people said it's not good. It doesn't. That it's a poor transfer." Direct quote. So the AV forums, Blu-ray.com, said it was a poor transfer.
Huh.
Now, I don't know what they were watching it on.
This is a great topic. Okay, keep going. Keep going. I love this. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, I don't know what they were watching it on. I don't know what size, what calibration, no idea. I don't know. All I can say is, with my untrained eye when it comes to this particular film, it was gorgeous. You know, I can't imagine it looking better. And it was so good that it greatly enhanced the film for me. It's like the delivery system actually made an impact. Incredible.
It did. But what's funny is I obviously I watched it as well, and where's my version? There we go.
Hmm.
I watched it on the Kaleidoscape. Yours was in Dolby True HD
Yeah.
5.1. Mine's DTS Master Audio 5.1. The Blu-ray version on Kaleidoscape has that same Dolby track. So, but the 4K has DTS. Anyways, I felt like the picture quality in this was so much better that you actually saw the stress on Tom Cruise's face, which I've never perceived before. And it's, I don't know if I haven't seen this in a while, but maybe I just didn't pay attention to that then. But you can't not pay attention to it now. Like he comes home from work and you see him walk in and you're like, oh my God, the wrinkles under his eyes, the dark circles, the sweat, you know, I mean, so much more was enhanced because of the 4K, because of the HDR. And I didn't see any of that, you know, negative reviews that you were talking about. But this is, I love Blu-ray.com. I use it all the time. I don't read it anymore until after I've seen it, especially if it's a new release, because of that exact reason. And I've seen a lot of movies, and this goes way, way back, like 10 years ago, before, even longer, long before I had a podcast. I stopped reading stuff before I saw it because that stuff tainted my opinion of it. And it was like, like, I don't remember what it was. It was probably a Marvel movie, or it was probably something that I was like, oh my God, that. And then I read the review and they said the audio in this was flat and everything. And I'm like, what are they listening on? Because I thought my room was fully engaged. I'm like, I don't get it. And I think we aren't, I don't think of us as reviewers. We're just talking about the experiences in our rooms. If you if you get into the nitty gritty, maybe this doesn't look as good, but we're not into the nitty gritty here. We're into the experience. And like you said a long time ago when we were watching Mandalorian, like, DJ, if you're paying attention to that, are you really paying attention? Are you getting the experience? Are you doing this? It's like, if your subs are dancing, John wants his subs to stop dancing so he can enjoy the experience and stop watching his subs, right? These people, and there's a time and a place for these people. I'm not saying these people, it's bad what Blu-ray is doing or what other reviewers are doing when they compare, because yeah, we want to know that. But at the same time, this has never looked better. It looks so good. And it's like, if you just watched the movie and you didn't know anything else, like you and I, we were like, what are they talking about? I thought it was great. And it's, you know, maybe compared to some other stuff, it's not. But this isn't that other stuff. And I just,
yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen the reviews until literally today is the first time I'd even read them, because I'd figured I was going to buy it. And we've had so many good Paramount discs of late that this was one of those you could buy it and not worry about what it looked like, because you could assume it's going to be good. But even I was absolutely blown away by this. And it's another one that I took photos of and put them up on Twitter, because I was like, wowzers, you know, it's so good. You know, so I don't get the negativity on this at all. I cannot imagine the movie looking better. And obviously, if Tom Cruise was stressed, he just needs a home cinema, doesn't he?
Right.
Because I think we've worked that out. So it was really good. I mean, the audio was perfunctory for the movie that it is. There was nothing in it that I would write home about with the audio. But it's
not
drama.
really a
home
theater movie. It's not, you know, and I was thinking that when we were sitting, I've had it sitting on my Kaleidoscape for a while. You said you were going to watch it. I'm like, definitely getting in on it. And because I love the movie too. It's fun. It's fun to see him work the system. And it's a tough drama. It's fun to watch. But I really was surprised to see that picture quality improvement and what it did for my perception of the movie as it played out, and the stress that he was under and how he's trying. I mean, it was really good. It's like,
it definitely, I enjoyed the movie much more this time watching it this way than I have ever before. I mean, I was engrossed. I really enjoyed it. But the lawyering is all nonsense. Just for the record, that it'd been okay. I'm a criminal lawyer. I don't do any of this corporate stuff. But it you know, all that's absolute nonsense. But still, the drama's really good.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, It is. It's really good drama. It's really good. I mean, it's from 1993. Happens to be out the same year I got married. Coincidence there? See that? But yeah, it's and Tom Cruise so young looking. Starts
Yeah,
in
he
Boston,
does.
by the way, and that
Yes,
was
indeed.
Boston, by the way. It wasn't
Oh
Spain.
yeah, no, yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
Boston.
No, I know. Yeah, on the red brick. I know. I've been to Harvard.
Yep.
To Cambridge. I know it well.
Although I saw one little Johnism that I didn't understand. It starts in he's in Harvard. He's a high top 5% of his Harvard class for law. Went to Harvard Law. That's how they opened the movie, Harvard Law. And he pulls up to his new home in Memphis with a Boston University plate on the car. I was like, maybe she went there, but they didn't even reference that. I'm like,
Right.
maybe what happened there? Did
Didn't
props
they
department?
Didn't they
Huh?
drive down to? They drove down to Tennessee, don't they? They've got the U-Haul on the back of the car,
Yes,
so they just drive
and
down.
it's like a late '80s Toyota Celica, a red
Mm-hmm.
Toyota Celica with a dent in the front. It's a banged up Toyota Celica, and it's got a vanity plate on the front, not a license plate. It's got it says it's a license plate that says Boston University on it, and I was like. I'm like, that had nothing to, I mean, it came from Boston, but you don't, if you're a Harvard graduate, you don't put a
Yeah.
BU plate on your car.
Yeah, but she was a teacher, wasn't she? She could have gone to
Yeah.
BU, I suppose.
Well, that's what
But
I
yeah,
said,
you're right.
but that wasn't
Yeah.
in the
Mhm.
story. You're like, what? I mean, you couldn't get a Harvard plate. You used the damn school. You filmed it in the school. So I just thought that was funny. So trying to think like John at all times.
I know. And you'd be better served.
Yeah.
See? There you go.
Just quickly, because John's mentioned it in the chat. John Thompson says, "I remember the Apollo 11 doc. Oh, I've got that as well on 4K. Everyone saying the grade was wrong. I tried it. It was amazing, and I found if your calibration was off, it looked like they said."
Yeah.
And then follows that up with, "I got totally flamed for pointing that out. It was the way people were watching it. There's nothing wrong with the disc and the grade." I mean, I agree, John. I said as much on Twitter earlier to this follower of mine who is a TV producer as well. He's ex-BBC producer, and he was saying, "Look, I don't understand why people were doing this." And we were talking about Vincent Tio and calibrations and everything else. And I said on there, I don't quite get, because it sounds a little bit elitist to go, "Oh, it's your calibration." And yet I think it possibly could be that, but it just doesn't quite sit right. I feel bad saying it. But yeah, I don't know. It's just disappointing when something that does look as amazing as that is then given a poor review on a couple of respectable websites in that way. But there we go. I with you, Deej. Watch it first and then look
Just
at the reviews
enjoy it.
afterwards.
Yeah, it's just I don't even reply to. I used to, and I'm like, I got into a debate with somebody once, and we were going back and forth about a 4K image that they just weren't happy with. They thought the Atmos was flat. They didn't like the image, and we were going back and forth. And all of a sudden, it wasn't until later that the person was telling I don't think it slipped out, but he's like, he goes, it just doesn't look right or whatever he said. And he goes, I don't think it's Disney Plus or what. I'm like, wait a minute, you're streaming this? I'm like, I thought we were talking apples to apples. And I'm like, I just stopped the conversation right there. And it's like when you never know what's on the other end. And I'm not saying that the other reviewers are going to, like, if you said Blu-ray.com, I trust them. They watched it. But when that's why I don't read that stuff anymore. And it's like, I'm not trying to say our opinions are right, but I founded this podcast so that you could go to a place to hear people talk about what they like. And it's like, oh, but that contradicts with somebody else that said it's a negative review. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. I'm not going to argue with you. It's like, I loved it. It's like, let's go. Keep going.
That's it.
So,
but I recommend that disc. I think guys, don't be put off by these reviews. Give it a
if you
give it
like
a
the
go.
movie.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, quite.
yeah.
And I think most people do. Is it one you're going to pick up, John? Is it something that
Yeah,
interests
yeah,
you,
I'll pick it
buddy,
up.
or is that?
No, yeah, I
mean,
like it.
it'll-
I've liked all those books and
Yeah.
movies, so I will pick it up.
Pelican Brief,
Well, A
they're
Time to
good
Kill is my
movies.
favorite
Time to
Grisham. I
Kill.
absolutely
Yep.
love
Mine
that.
too, yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
nice in 4K. I'd absolutely love that in 4K.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, Samuel L. Jackson was talking about it the other day. Someone interviewed him and mentioned it, and he was talking about how much he enjoyed it, but wanted to go further.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty unhinged in that, but he wanted
is.
to go. He said, "I wanted to go way further than that and really kind of show just how crazy this guy was." But yeah, in fact, do you know what? I'm going to rewatch that. I've got that on Blu-ray. I'm going to give that another go. Everyone's very sweaty in that film.
They are.
Speaking of
Alabama
people being
or whatever it is.
sweaty
Oh,
in films,
I was going to say, you don't want to hold. Let's hold this one because it's.
You wanna hold
we're, We're running long. It's
yeah.
6:15.
Oh yeah, I didn't even really. But
I'm
you know.
okay for time, guys. If you're all right, I'm off.
So
work
if you wanna
tomorrow,
hold
so
this one
I'm
for
fine
next
if you
week,
are.
We'll wrap. I mean, Steve and I can wrap up with our last one then.
Oh, you still got. Oh, well, if we still got more, then.
Yeah. Well, we have. I mean, this is kind of a big
Well,
one.
then I'll
so-
do it. But
Okay,
I'll
then-
do it then.
All right.
It'll be
I'm
quick.
good.
It's a great film as well. I love the one you're about to talk about.
Yeah,
Oh,
I do
really?
too. And this
Oh,
is
yeah.
another.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
let's tease the listener a little bit here because this is another one that gets a lot of negativity, and I have a feeling John's about to pile.
John, we're not going to disagree on this.
I love this
Come
movie.
on.
We are.
Yeah.
Oh
We
no!
are.
Man. Oh no!
All right, let's let
I
everybody
always
in
teased
on
it
it.
earlier.
The
Yeah,
image
I teased it
doesn't
earlier
really
by
tell
talking
you
about-
what it is.
No,
either,
it
but
doesn't,
We're
but-
talking
Yeah.
Waterworld
Waterworld, yes. 4K,
4K.
disc. 7.1
5.1.
DTS Master Audio.
7.1, sorry.
7.1, yeah.
Yep.
This is a great disc.
Good.
Much better than
Tell us
the
about
film.
the nachos and
Much
the
better than the
chips.
film. I had never seen this movie.
Oh.
I had avoided it for years because
Really?
I
Listen
had
to the
never
critics,
heard.
didn't you?
I did listen to the critics and I avoided it. And then I listened to Steve and I watched it. I didn't like it. I really didn't care for this movie. It looked great. It sounded great. I just didn't love it. I don't know what else to say.
What is it about a man drinking his own urine that you didn't find entertaining, John? Come
Yeah,
on.
I don't know, and I
That's
can't even tell you.
college.
I can't even tell you what I didn't like about it. I just thought it was hokey and didn't care for it.
Oh,
I don't know.
That's my
man.
man.
Tell me why I'm wrong, Steve.
oh,
Tell
dude,
me why
I
I'm
could
wrong.
do an entire podcast on
Yeah.
Waterworld and stories about Waterworld and my
Oh.
experiences with Waterworld and what I love about Waterworld. I could talk about this film forever. Tell me, John, did you watch the director's cut or did you
I
watch the
didn't.
theatrical version?
I didn't, and I didn't realize that there was even because you know
three.
I looked it up and on IMDb and it said 2 hours 50 minutes or something. So I'm strapping in to watch a 3-hour movie, and the theatrical cut is just at 2 hours. And so I'm looking at the time on the front of my Blu-ray player, thinking, man, what are they doing for 40 more minutes? Because this movie is wrapping up. And then all of a sudden the credits started rolling. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, what happened? Because this is supposed to be another 40 minutes. And then, of course, when I was putting the disc away, I looked and saw that there was a director's cut. But it didn't ask me when I put it on. I think it's on the Blu-ray and not on
yeah.
it's not on the 4K
it is.
disc.
Yeah.
So when I put the 4K disc in, it didn't give me an option to watch
Right.
one or the other. And so I just hit play and I didn't even know. I don't know if I want 40 more minutes is the problem, unless you're going to tell me that it is going to drastically change my perspective on the movie.
It'll change the ending.
Yeah.
It'll certainly change the ending because you now know what it is that they set foot on, which
Right.
you won't know in the theatrical cut.
Right.
Should we spoil it for him, Deej?
I mean, it's up to you because
We don't want to.
you got to give me a reason to watch it.
I
I'm gonna
wouldn't
be honest
because
with you.
what if there's other people? It's
Yeah,
not
no,
just
that's fair
John,
enough. That's
too,
fair enough.
Yeah.
There is where they set foot at the end is something recognizable. That's
Okay.
what I would say,
Yeah.
which you don't get through the theatrical, and it is fun. I think it's quite cleverly done.
Is there like
I-
a Statue of Liberty popping up out of the beach?
You did it,
know?
didn't you?
No.
Yeah, no. It's. I have always loved this film. I get and everything you say about it is right. It is hokey. It's silly, but God, it's good.
Yeah.
And it's
See,
Mad
I
Max
have no
on the
problem
water,
with
you know, it's
hokey and
everywhere.
silly.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
always. I mean, I watched Krull and Beastmaster, so
Yeah, but see, and that's a great point too. It's like if you had never seen that before and it came out today, you wouldn't like them. But you had
Maybe
that pulls
not.
on
Yeah,
your
you're right.
heartstrings because
You're right.
you remember being a
it was
kid.
nostalgia.
Yeah, and
sure.
that's another reason that a lot of times that like we'll like something that nobody else will like, or you as an individual like something. But it could have been a line in a movie that just struck a chord that it's like how you know, something from your childhood or something. And and that's going to taint your everything throughout, right? You're going to be like, oh my God, this is so great. This is whatever happened. That's the point of art. You can, you know, like in what's it called? Wilson Fisk buying that white painting because it spoke to him. Daredevil, you know, it's like, what is that? No, I don't know. I love it. And he, you know, that's the point of it. And, you know,
There's
stuff like this, and I'm not saying Waterworld spoke to me. I just had fun with it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
it was an $8 4K disc on Amazon, so it's cheap.
Yeah.
If you like it, get it. It's a good disc. Like I said, it's a great disc.
I didn't buy the 4K disc because Arrow released it on Blu-ray and then 4K sometime thereafter. But because the director's cut wasn't on the Blu-ray, the 4K disc, I didn't buy it. I will get round to it when, like say, for $8. I mean, I will pick it up as well. But the director's cut adds so much more to it. But one of the many things I like about it, I love how dopey it is, but I love the practical sets. The amount of money that was spent on this thing.
Sure.
I mean, it's famously expensive, of course.
Right.
And you know, it's so tactile and everything else. I mean, I love it. Mad Max
And
on
another
the sea.
Gene
I might be in the
Tripplehorn film.
minority. I
Yes.
guess I'm in the minority here, but I
You're okay. But you're right though. This is the thing. Nothing you're saying is it can be disagreed with in any way. But it's because of the things you say that it makes it so good.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think
Which
you're
is
in the
what's-
majority, John, with the public.
Yeah.
I mean, on this show, you're outvoted, but I mean, like we said before, we don't take votes. It's like, it doesn't mean you have to like it. It's like, all right, I lost. I like it.
Yeah.
No,
I've
but
seen
I
it-
think the majority of the people don't like, I mean, everything is like, I remember when it came out on 4K and they're like, why? Like, hey. Like, I like it.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've
I have
seen
it
it
on
so many
Laserdisc.
times.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, of course. I mean,
I've got
to
it
the
on
point where
Laserdisc, DVD. Yeah.
whenever
all
I
the way
see
up.
the Universal logo, especially that one at that time, whenever
this
I
is
see
what you
that
think
spin
of?
work, it because of course the land recedes, doesn't
Yes.
it?
Right, it
just becomes
morphs.
water.
Yeah, which
And
was
so
cool.
Whenever
That was
I see
cool.
it, whenever I see it, I always think of Waterworld. So whenever, even with that and Jurassic Park as well, with Jurassic Park, because it changes as well. But it must be something about Universal movies, John, because you don't like The Mummy, and it does it with that. You get that goes into the
Maybe
sun,
so.
and you don't like it with this, and
Yeah.
it goes into water. Mate, I think we need to know if it's got crazy credits. Steer clear for John.
I just don't like
Yeah.
it. Yeah. No, actually, I thought that was the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Was the opening.
That's so funny.
I've got such a soft spot for this film, but I get it, and you know, yeah. As I said, everything you said about it is 100% right.
I'll
but
give it
that's
a
what
go,
makes
and
it so
I'll
good.
watch the director. Can't promise it'll be this week, but I will.
Oh yeah, don't put it to the top of your list. There's loads of other stuff first, but it's worth a go. It is good. But having said that, someone in the chat mentioned The Postman. Was it Carl? Yeah, Carl mentioned The Postman. Now I've got the Blu-ray of that, which I bought maybe a year ago. It was one of these 3 for £20 or whatever it was, and I picked that up same time as Amistad and something else. I can't remember what it was. And I haven't seen The Postman. I still haven't watched it. I got the disc and I haven't seen it, so I need to watch that. Again, people say it's rubbish, but I also have got a bit.
Well,
of a
that's
soft
what
spot for
John's
Kevin
saying
Costner.
in the chat.
Yeah, it's
John
better than
Thompson's
The
saying it Waterworld's better than The Postman. So
Yeah, see, I need to see The Postman. I've got the Blu-ray. I like Kevin Costner
haven't seen
generally,
it.
so I need to give that a watch. I know what I'm letting myself in for.
we also have earlier, getting back to the review stuff, Paul saying, so often I see reviews that say something like, quote, reviewed on an LG 55-inch C7 OLED, no indication that it's calibrated, so who knows what they're seeing. Right. And it's true. It's like, I mean, I see reviews on reviews, like reviews on the equipment, and they don't calibrate it. And they're like comparing two different devices or displays, and they're not calibrated, or they're like, we put them at equal. That's why it's like, just enjoy what you're enjoying, because who knows how yours is calibrated. It's so hard to get stuff calibrated, and it's like, just, if you enjoy the content, don't let the fact that it's like, well, according to the Pixel Master, it's not very good. Oh, okay.
But that's why, Deej, you and John, your plan from the beginning about it being about the experiences rather than the technical side of it is why it was such a valid thing. I mean, we talk about how much we enjoy it or not enjoy it. We don't go, oh, well, at this point, the bit rate drops down to only 60, that's just not us, is it?
Right.
And so, that's why this is such a fun experience to do, because it's not than just that.
Not to throw stones at other people's glass houses, but again, we joked earlier, that's how you and I met. It's like you put out, and a lot of people follow you. A lot of people listen to you in your reviews, and you had reviewed, I don't know if you review, but you didn't enjoy the movie Lucy. And then it was like, but there was no description on how you watched it. You just didn't like it. And then you find out how you watched it. And it was like, I watched it on my iPhone on a train or something like that. And I was
in the gym.
In the gym. Oh, even better. But you know what I mean? And I'm like, give it a go. And but here's the thing, and that's no offense to you. It's no offense, but the people reading it go, oh, okay, that it wasn't very good. But it's like, that's not the experience, So as a movie, I agree with you. Lucy in a gym on an iPhone, not so good. Not so good.
But in fairness, I recanted my earlier testimony.
Yes, you
and
did.
Therefore, I was expunged. The record was expunged. Yeah, what you said.
No, but it's a great example of what goes on, and how people watch stuff. So, all right, our last one.
I'm ducking out for 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
All right, somebody's gotta go feed the dog. All right, we could start without him. He hasn't seen this yet, so let's get going on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I'll say it right for the first time and last time in the show. So you go for it. You watched it digitally, and then I will retort as I watched it on Kaleidoscape and digitally. So
just before I do that, Deej, I've got to respond to this. John Thompson in the chat says, "What's wrong with Steve? Didn't like Lucy. Didn't like Fifth Element. You see a theme. It is not Luc Besson. He has made some great films. I really like Leon the Professional. He's made some really decent stuff. So
what's the other one we talked about? There was another one you and I talked about. I think off air. That was another Luc Besson movie that you were like, you were raving about it, and I'm like, dude. I said something like it. I was like, I think I texted you or something like, come on, buddy.
There is one that I love that most people hate, which is Lockout with Guy Pearce. I loved that film. I mean, it's Escape from New York, but I absolutely love that film, and that's Luc Besson. So it's not him. It's and also Lucy. When I saw it properly, I really enjoyed John. So go back and listen to that podcast, mate. I don't know what it was, but we talked about that. And when I saw it in the cinema room, it was actually really enjoyable and a great disc. Anyway, right. So back to Indiana Jones.
Jones, the Dial of Density.
So now this is
you
one,
give me
John,
your impressions of the digital, of what you saw streaming.
Okay, so we talked, for those wondering, we talked back in, I think it was the July 4th show, about we'd seen it and both of us really enjoyed the movie. So that's fine. And having rewatched it now, I've seen it now 3 times. I've watched the digital version twice. I really, really enjoy this film. And I know there are people that do not like it. And John Thompson's one of them, and he's got good reason to dislike it, without telling tales out of school. But I really, really, really enjoyed it. I really like this film. It's great. So that's that out of the way. Now, the digital version. So this is on iTunes. Hey, John, you all right, mate? You okay? So this is
needed a break.
Good. Well, I get you. This is why these are so big. You see,
right?
So that you don't have to leave the room.
So I don't have to leave.
You want to see a guy drink his own urine? No, anyway. Waterworld all over again.
Yeah.
So
it was that Waterworld conversation. That's why I wanted to skip it.
I was trying to duck out 15 minutes ago, but you guys wanted to keep going.
Guys, I can't talk Waterworld right now. I gotta go.
No one say anything about water.
I'm
Brilliant.
gonna come up with a sounder just of running water. Just
Yeah.
Like the Naked Gun,
Yeah.
22 and a half, when he's in the toilet, he's got the microphone on and you can hear him sort of singing in the loop. That's great. That's always my fear with this, by the way, with any sort of video conferencing. I'm always worried if I go to the loo, I'm going to leave a microphone on and someone will hear, which is like
Make sure to
massively
close the doors.
you don't
Yeah,
make some
well,
obscene sounds, do you?
awkward. Well, not that I'm aware of.
John does.
Anyway,
Yeah.
John,
I've left the door open before. So
Yeah,
Well,
that's so funny. It's
there you go.
like we used to end chat, and I'd be like, "Why did I stop recording? That'd be a great show ender." Because you just hear John go, "I gotta go," and you hear the chair push away. And this was back when it was audio only, so like you had nothing else to. All you could, it was just listening, and all of a sudden you'd hear, da-dum, ba-da-bum.
Oh,
then that sigh of
Brilliant.
relief.
He comes back, and I'm like on the floor.
Hilarious.
well,
Back
yeah.
to
Try
the
and get,
dial
try and get,
density.
Yeah.
yeah. So I've seen
Back
this
to
version
Waterworld.
twice. Then, yeah, I've seen the whole movie twice through, and I've seen the opening 20 minutes probably about 10 times since I've had the digital version. So picture wise, I think for a digital stream, it's lovely. I've got no problem with that at all. The HDR is great. The colors, are exactly what you want. It looks exactly as it's supposed to be, which is an old-fashioned Technicolor serial adventure movie. So it looks great. Really, really nice. And again, to deploy my catchphrase, the only thing that is better than how it looks is how it sounds. It's in Dolby Atmos. And we talked off air last week after the show about it. And again, I haven't seen the physical or heard the physical, but for a stream, I was again sorry, John. Luckily, you have been to the toilet. We're not talking about
Yeah,
streams.
you can say
Sorry,
stream all
we
you
talk about
want.
stream all you like now. Yeah, that's okay then. I
In case
thought
anybody
the audio
didn't
on
know
this.
what I was doing.
Yeah.
Well, I think we better be more specific because otherwise people will wonder. And it was. The audio on it is really, really, really good indeed. Right from the opening couple of minutes. There is your favorite, of course, Deej. It starts with a ticking clock, which nicely sort of comes in. And then straight away, you've got planes going overhead. You've got bombs dropping. You've got voices all around. Could the bass be deeper? Yeah, it could. But it's still got a lot of presence in the room. You've got all the different voices, everything moving, and then of course you've got the big train sequence at the beginning, and all you've got a quite a big sort of, I think they call them ACAC, not AT-AT guns that are firing.
Yeah.
Now that's not terribly deep. I would have liked that to have been really booming, but it's still got presence and it's got thing, and it moves around the room when the turret moves. I thought it was great for a stream, and again I've seen it a number of times, loved it. And I really liked the movie, so I'm very glad I bought the digital version. But I'll be buying the physical disc the second that it's released. Make no mistake about that. But yes, I thought it was really good. So yeah, there is no need to retort. Hopefully, it's just agreement, Deej.
Oh, it's great. The digital stream is really good. Everything you said, I mean, literally everything you said is 100% correct. But when you go to the physical, everything you asked for, you are going to get. And and even when you said like it goes around the room, it's like, remember what I was saying about the turtles earlier and how like the picture is more 3D because it's so dynamic, right? You got the bright neon versus this is closer to and better lit than the Batman, especially that open. Most of this movie is very dark. Most of it takes place at night or indoors or something, right? It's lit by candlelight or it's lit by whatever. The picture on this, same thing, like more detail, everything on the physical as opposed or Kaleidoscape in my case, but the physical, the picture will be better, but you would be hard pressed walking in the room to tell the difference. I watched the entire thing on Kaleidoscape first, waited a few days, came back, not on purpose, but waited a few days. And I'm like, let me do the iTunes, bought the iTunes, did that one. And I was like, damn, this is really, really close. This is good. And everything you said is exactly how I felt. I'd already seen and experienced the Kaleidoscape. Okay. And then I was like, all right, let me go back and let me flip back, put on the Kaleidoscape, hit the opening scene. I was like, oh my God. It was like, and that's exactly what you said, Steve, though. Could the bass have been deeper? Yes. Could this have happened? Could the guns have? It's even the sound is like, and when you said the guns going around the room, the sound is more 3D. You're getting cleaner, discrete dispersion of the sound, if you will. You're getting deeper bass, better dynamics. You're probably getting brighter highs and you're getting deeper lows, and it is just that much better. And again, like I said with Turtles, it's like the picture is very close. You'd be hard pressed to tell the difference, almost even going back and forth. But that sound, there is just a gap. And to your point, the digital still sounds really, really good. It's not until you compare it where you go, I never, ever want to listen to that stream again. So you'll see, and I think you'll really enjoy it. And that's, you know, you guys laugh when I do this, but I love doing this. This is what I did for years and years. I love comparing versions, comparing it and seeing what the difference is and what you can get. And and like I've said to people when they're starting out, don't even get physical, because that's, by the time, like when you're young, like Meg and Greg, I'm like, just stream, because it's phenomenal. And you don't even have a system that can take advantage of it yet. So just stream, because stream is really, really good. And then, you know, and it's getting better every day. So if you're just starting out, I would say don't waste your money on collecting discs, because I've wasted a lot of money on discs, and physical evolves. Streaming really doesn't. You get upgraded when they upgrade, and when it gets better, it gets better. Blu-ray disc, believe it or not, and physical people, I buy physical. I'm doing, physical discs. John knows he had laser discs, VHS. We did the whole thing. It's like they get outdated. So, and don't sleep on it. But if you're already collecting, by all means, it's the best way to get physical. So.
Yeah, I was very impressed with the stream on this. Again, the noise, the atmosphere just fills the room. It's great. I watched it with a couple of other people who didn't see it the first time I saw it, when in that little Bijou cinema that we showed the pictures of a while back, which didn't have Atmos, whereas this did. And so it just filled the whole top of the room. Now has presence to it. And now I know why all the characters were looking up. When I first watched it, there's lots of characters doing this, and I'm thinking, well, what are they listening to? But now, of course, I know. It's such a good film. I can't wait. Have you picked up the digital, John? Did you decide to spring for that?
No, not yet.
Gonna wait and see.
Yet. Yeah.
It'll be out. It's going to be hitting Disney Plus within the next sort of month, surely, and it'll be out on 4K before Christmas.
I think November we'll probably get it.
Yeah, which will be great. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, no, very cool. John Thompson again says, a year and a half of my life. He's got a different view of Indiana Jones. And there's a good reason for it, peeps. If John wants to reveal it in the chat, he can. But there's a reason that he has a different view of this film than a lot of others. But I think it's I really, really liked it. It could not have been sensibly better, I don't think. Oh, and we didn't even mention all the stuff at the end with planes and stuff. There's loads of really cool movement with that as well, which I forgot to mention. But very, very good. Yeah, well worth springing for this. If like me, the last digital version you bought was Maverick, because you just couldn't wait, then for me, this is the same as that. You know, I can't wait either. I had to see this properly, and I'm very glad that I did. And I'll watch this endlessly. Again, because I've got the digital version. I'll also watch it. In various different places as well. So it's great. Very, very cool.
There was a cool echo at 1 hour and 42 minutes. You remember that scene? And it's
in the cave.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're both speaking, and the voices are echo, and the way it moved around, because it's not the cave is oddly shaped. So the voice, the echo actually moved. It wasn't just like, hello, hello, hello. It was like, hello, hello, hello. And it was really, really, it was a lot of fun. And I was like, all right, I got to write that one down. I'm like, that was really good. So I love Echoes. So, all right. Still the best Echo, I think, was in, that was what, Die Hard with a Vengeance in the tunnel. It was just something the way it went in front of you and then went behind you and kept getting further and further and further away in the tunnel. And I was just like, oh my God, I've never heard that before. So, John Thompson, how many times did you hear the Wilhelm scream? I only heard it once. I heard it at the beginning. That's the only
the
time I
train.
noticed it. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
I
the only
think
time I grabbed that one.
Yeah, I definitely remember that. Yeah, I wasn't there. I think there's one on one of the planes.
Well, this means there's more
well.
than one. So-
Yeah, I think I heard one on one of the planes as well. Wasn't there, again, without spoilers, but someone goes out of a plane.
Was
and
there?
I think I heard it then as well. Yeah, I think so. But probably only two.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No,
well, how many
I
are there,
just heard
John?
the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll say about 47.
I remember the one, but again, I've
Yeah.
only seen it once in the theater. So
And even the one that I remember it was really loud. It wasn't a background one. It was a really loud one. It was right there front and center for you to hear it too.
well, see again, and I always think I'm getting a text. So
Oh,
that's my text tone. So
yeah.
whenever I'm watching a movie or TV, I'm looking at my phone thinking,
Well, John has another one that I don't know if we want to say.
Yeah,
it.
it's a slight
but there-
spoiler, isn't it?
Yeah, don't tell. We won't put it up. We won't say where it is in the movie, but we'll say that there is the sound of the Millennium Falcon hyperdrive in the movie. So failing. So pay attention for that too. There's there's a long history of that, obviously, with what the movie is of Star Wars crossovers. So, but that's a good one. That's a good one. But I don't want to spoil it for people because
I didn't hear it, so I'll have to listen when I watch it.
yeah,
again.
I didn't hear that one either. But
Well, it's
I'll
a
go
good
back and
excuse to
check
go
that out.
and yeah.
Yep.
Listen again. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Any excuse to rewatch it.
Yeah. So, all right.
Okay.
Is that it? We ran a
We've
little.
gone old school here, guys. We've gone
Yeah.
like the old
Yeah.
days.
See, we try to simplify, bring it down, to shorten the show, and we get closer to the old. What the hell?
Hey,
am
I tried to
doing?
do my job, but you guys blew,
Well,
you
I
blew
think-
right over me.
I think it was all your fault, John. You watched like
It
10
was.
movies this
Yeah.
week.
Well, and I talked a lot about my subwoofers and my
Damn
Dolby
it.
Atmos. Yeah. So
Damn
it's all- it's my
Equalizer
fault.
ended up being
Yeah.
a tweak of the week, and oh my
Yeah.
God, John's
It's
ruining
all
everything.
my fault.
No, it's
We
great.
just get excited.
Mea culpa.
You know, it's like
Hell, I've already got 2 things for next week.
I know. Yeah, peek behind the curtain, everybody. Steve watches so much stuff that it's like for next week's show. I'm getting in the number. Oh my God! I was like,
Hey, I've had to promise
you guys
someone
are probably going
faithfully-
to run the show next week because I don't know what I'm going to be able to watch.
Yeah.
In
Well,
my
next,
theater.
I have promised.
I'm at Cedia.
that the person that wrote the movie is. I have promised I will talk about that film next week. So I've already given him the heads up as to what I thought of it.
One of Carl's?
But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah. So Last House on the Left, the 4K.
Oh, yeah. That's
So I
one
promised him
I-
faithfully that I'd do it. It's great.
Okay, I haven't seen that one. I've
don't
seen
think
a
I've seen it
bunch of his others, but
Mm.
that's more of a horror, right? And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah. And I don't know if maybe I did. How old is that one?
2000 and oh, gosh.
If it's
2000 I wanna
old
say
enough, I might
2009.
have seen. Jen and I might have seen it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you now because now I feel bad. But it's the new Arrow 4K release.
Yeah.
I want to say 2009, but I don't know if it is that. Have a look. Talk amongst yourselves.
But no, Nicole Kidman. Is that
No. It's 2009. Oh, check me
Oh,
out.
who's in
right?
that?
No, it's got.
No, that's not the one.
Tony Goldwyn is the dad, and you've got and then a
Wes
number Monica
Craven.
Potter. Wes
Yeah.
Craven was. He's not the director. He's produced that, but it was his.
Yeah,
he
producer
did the
Wes
film
Craven,
originally.
director
Yeah.
Dennis Iliadis.
Iliadis, yeah.
Iliadis.
So this is a
Yeah.
new version of it, which we'll talk about next week in terms of the. But suffice to say, it's really good, and it's a hell of a 4K disc. So I promised Carl faithfully that I'll talk about it because he hasn't had his copy yet. So
Oh,
the guy that
no.
wrote it
Doesn't
hasn't
have it.
received it yet.
That's
Not only,
crazy.
by the way, guys, did he write it, he recorded an interview in March,
Yeah.
which is on the disc.
Right.
So he's
Yeah.
on there. So that was quite cool as well. So he's there too. So
But he
I-
can't
and
come
he-
on here and talk about it.
No, well, we can talk home theatre. He does say, by the way,
We are
Deej,
gonna do that.
in this 18-minute interview. He talks about how he is a movie nut, and he talks about how he loves home theatre and everything else.
After
as well.
Cedia,
So-
we're going to be sitting down with him. We're
Yeah.
definitely sitting down with him because I mean, we've been talking about this for a while, and Steve's the movie guy, the story guy, and he can't wait to like pick his
I'm gonna be
brain.
good.
And I'm
I'm
like,
gonna be good.
but here, no, I know you're going to be good because by law you have to be because the poor guy
Yes.
can't do that, right?
Right,
So I'm like,
right,
this is
yeah.
the perfect time for me to get him in, and we can talk home theater because I've got so many questions that I want to know home theater wise from him, and I've said that to him when we've in our brief conversations, but it's like. Yeah, so after Cedia, that's going to be a takeover Tuesday, probably in
we've got
September, if we can
We've got our
organize that.
first. We've got our first topic as well because he said to me this week he
Okay.
has never upmixed anything.
Okay.
And he yeah.
I used
so
to
he's
have that
Is
day.
it
I
any?
used to do
Is it
that.
much better? Is it any better? Is it good? So I mean,
Oh,
we
awesome.
can broaden his horizons on that straight away.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
So,
I love
yeah.
that. That's a great conversation. Yeah. And I think the listeners would be surprised to hear my answer. All right. That it? You done?
Yep.
John, you got anything else?
No,
Did you watch a
nothing
movie
else.
while we were just chatting? Did you?
Well, I did, but that's for next week.
All right. All right. I'll wrap it up quick. Thank you everybody for watching, listening, participating. If you're in the audio only on Fridays, thank you very much. Take over Tuesdays. I'm not sure what we're doing for next week. I don't have one in the can for next week. I'm hoping to be able to get some Cedia info and be able to get that out in time, but I'm not sure. So we'll see what happens for next week. But at the very least, we will be back here next Tuesday. I'll be talking all about Cedia and my first experience there. These guys, John will probably have watched another dozen movies. Steve's
Oh no,
already
this
working.
this was a
himself
bit
to
of an
Baker
anomaly this
dozen.
week. So-
But thank you, everybody. And we're running real late. So what are you gonna do?
Go push play.
What he said.
Here we go.